are shaking loose, I'm bent and buckled. My teeth are clenched. Think I'm gonna fuse, there's blood on my knuckles. The smile on my face is fake, and the beat of my head suggests you get burning up. Had enough, had enough, had enough, had enough, yeah. 'Cause I've had enough. I think I'm reaching the limit. You should keep your distance. 'Cause I've had enough. Take a deep breath and count to 3. I'm gonna be behaving. I feel like people just look at me. Maybe I'm crazy. Think I'll burn a fuse, there's blood on my knuckles. The smile on my face is fake, and the beat of my head suggests you get burning up. Had enough, had enough, had enough, had enough, yeah. 'Cause I've had enough. I think I'm reaching the limit. You should keep your distance. 'Cause I've had enough. Well, I guess it could be me, quite possibly. I might be scared or insecure. I have been hurt before, the blame ain't yours. But the vein of my head suggests you get running. 'Cause I've had enough. 'Cause I've had enough. I think I'm reaching the limit. You should keep your distance. 'Cause I've had enough. Hey now, don't you know? Say hey now, don't you know? No. But I've had enough. Hey now, don't you know? Say hey now, don't you know? No. But I've had enough. I hate everyone that I meet, but I'm getting better. Think before I speak, because I know I got a temper. Screws are shaking loose, I'm bent and buckled. My teeth are clenched. Think I'm gonna fuse, there's blood on my knuckles. The smile on my face is fake, and the beat of my head suggests you get burning up. Had enough, had enough, had enough, had enough, yeah. 'Cause I've had enough. I think I'm reaching the limit. You should keep your distance. 'Cause I've had enough. Take a deep breath and count to 3. I'm gonna be behaving. I feel like people just look at me. Maybe I'm crazy. Think I'll burn a fuse, there's blood on my knuckles. The smile on my face is fake, and the beat of my head suggests you get burning up. Had enough, had enough, had enough, had enough, yeah. 'Cause I've had enough. I think I'm reaching the limit. You should keep your distance. 'Cause I've had enough.
Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to what is going to be a very special day here in StarCraft history.
A night to remember, no doubt. Not only do we have the GSL Codes Finals later on tonight, but right now, right here, we have the legend. The four greatest players ever to have played StarCraft 1 will go at it head-to-head for your enjoyment.
Yeah, this is so cool. We don't normally have a major StarCraft 1 day and a major StarCraft 2 day back-to-back here. So this is going to be a great show tonight. I cannot wait to see these guys duke it out in Brood War. I think any of them could take it all. Yeah. And they're in fantastic shape with Brood War rising in popularity again here in Korea. We're seeing some of the best games we've ever had.
Yeah, all four of these guys are in their absolute top forms once again, practicing all the time. We've seen in the previous ASL season in the team battle as well that they are in fantastic shape. So this first match is going to be awesome. Guys, tell your friends, let them know, because this is going to rule.
Yeah, get out there, tell your friends to join us. We're going to be here all day and deep into the night. And by the way, this GSL Codes Finals is really interesting. We have two guys who have constantly gotten second place. One of them is going to get second place again. The other will finally break the curse.
Yeah, that's it's a funny thing, Tasteless. That's going to be a ridiculous finals too, though, because right now those guys are the best Protoss and Zerg that you can find anywhere.
I know. All right, guys, we are going to be starting this momentarily. Again, tell your friends to join us here as we have a wonderful birthday for StarCraft, the 19th birthday.
스타크래프트를 처음 만난 게 19년 전이거든요.
저그, 프로토스, 테란이라는 영웅들을 만나면서
제 인생의 절반은 스타로 보낸 것 같아요.
제가 거의 배틀렉 전적이 당시 한 10,000승 이상을 했던 것 같아요.
어릴 적 오빠가 스타크래프트를 하기 위해서 꼭 저를 불러서 했었거든요.
정액 끊고 많이 밤새고 했거든요, 스타크래프트.
워낙 유명한 게임이니까요.
한번 시작하면 시간 가는 줄도 모르고
맨날 게임하느라 만나지 못했어요.
그 지새웠던 수많은 밤들, 종족 간의 밸런스가 완벽하니까.
그거 제 아는 유일한 게임이에요.
지지칠 때까지는 아무도 모르니까.
지금 나이 때 생각해보면 하나의 게임을 넘어서
스타크래프트는 저한테 아주 좋은 친구였고 아주 재미있는 친구였고 그리고 지금도 역시 친구입니다. 앞으로도 스타크래프트하고는 계속 같이 놀 거예요. 스타크래프트는 나에게 친구입니다.
문화가 아닐까.
밥과 술.
PC방 정액제?
오빠랑 놀아주기.
인생의 축소판 슈퍼스타다. 다시는 없을 열정.
각본 없는 드라마.
살아있는 역사.
블랙홀?
윤활제.
타임브레이커.
새벽 사우나, 가장 완벽한 전투.
나에게 있어서 스타크래프트란 삶이자 미래다.
스타크래프트 모르는 사람이 어딨어요.
And here we are back again. Everyone's saying how much StarCraft means to them. Tasteless, you and I as well. We've sacrificed everything, moved out here nearly 10 years ago.
That's right.
For this game.
God, we've been here a long time. And yeah, man, I've been playing StarCraft for, I guess, more than half my life now.
Yeah. 19 years.
Not really sure what was going on before StarCraft came out.
That was just when I was
It was all a little bit hazy. That's really where life started for me, Artosis.
Indeed, you're right about that.
So we have a special guest coming out here today. A lot of people would say he is the face of Brood War. It is Slayer's Boxer.
Hello everyone. So I am the king of Tehran, Im Yo-han.
정말 그 임요한 선수와 저는 인생에서 절대 빼놓을 수
I think for
없는 게
me and
스타크래프트거든요.
Mr. Im Yo-han, for Boxer, for us, StarCraft is so important in our lives
임요한
for the past
선수에게
19 years. So for the king of Tehran, for Boxer, what is StarCraft to you? What does it mean? So as I play StarCraft, I think that I was able to shine in my life, and my life was filled with passion because of StarCraft. And StarCraft for me is about passion. And now, without any more passion, I think your body becomes sick. So in the past, so many fans were talking to me at the final.
팬분들에게 나
And
임요한은
so
어떻게
maybe
살고 있다 앞으로
you can
어떻게 살
share
거다 일단 말씀
with the
부탁드리겠습니다.
fans your present and future.
예, 제가 19살 때 스타크래프트를 처음 접했는데
Started StarCraft when
벌써
I was
10년이
19
지났어요.
and it's been 19
한
years.
10년까지는 제가
So
열심히
I think for the
했는데
first 10 years I really played
그
StarCraft a
뒤로는
lot.
이제
And then afterwards
프로포커라는 직업을 했고요.
I became a
그
pro
뒤로 이제
poker
저희
and then a lot
다시 이제
of
스타크래프트를
young
열심히 하는 모습
StarCraft
보고
players emerged and
완전히 꺼졌던 줄 알았던 제가
I
스타크래프트가 점점
thought
이제
that the
활발 타오르고
love
있는데
or passion for
저도
StarCraft had died down, but it's been
오늘 이제
reignited
후배들이
and
얼마나
it's
게임을
burning.
잘 해주냐에 따라서
And
좀
I am
집에 가서 게임을
delighted
좀 해봐야겠다
to see all
생각을
these
해볼 것
new
같아요. 오늘
star players, and I think I'll probably
열심히
go
잘
home and
해줘서
play StarCraft after this.
오신 여러분들 좀 많이
And
만족시켜
I hope
드렸으면
that
좋겠습니다.
everyone will have a really
눈물과
wonderful
숨통이
time
젖었습니다.
here today.
테란의 황제
I think
임요한 선수
he's
여러분
very
뜨거운
much
박수를
moved. I can see
부탁드리겠습니다.
tears in his eyes.
앞으로도
Ladies
좋은
and
모습
gentlemen, once
기대하겠습니다.
again,
네,
please
자리해
give
주시기
the King of
부탁드리겠고요.
Tehran, Boxer
네,
Imyohan,
테란의
another big
황제
round of applause.
임요한.
So the King
임요한
of
선수 하면
Tehran,
정말
Boxer
스타크래프트에서 절대
Imyohan,
빼놓을 수 없는
is a
상징적인
person,
인물이죠.
an iconic figure
임요한 선수뿐만
in the
아니라요.
StarCraft
e스포츠 발전,
community and
스타크래프트
StarCraft
발전을 위해서 정말
games. And
많은 노력을
he has
해주신
worked very
분들이
hard for the
계십니다.
development of esports and also
나만의
the game
스타크래프트
StarCraft.
이야기 과연
So
선수와
I'm
진행자가
sure
아닌
that
일반인 입장에서는
everyone
이
has their
스타크래프트가
own
나에게
special
어떤
StarCraft
존재인지
story.
저희가
And I'm
알러브
sure StarCraft has a
스타크래프트
special meaning to
행사 전에
them.
사전
And
초대
so
이벤트를
before this event, we
진행했었는데요.
had a pre-event,
많은 사연들이
and
있었습니다.
where we were able
다시
to
한번 사연을
listen
보내준
to
여러분께 깊은
different
감사를
people's stories. So once
전하면서
again,
오늘 첫
everyone, thank
번째
you for sharing
주인공을
your stories.
무대로 모시도록
And now
하겠습니다.
we're going to invite one
불러드리는
special guest
작은
to
선물의
the
주인공.
stage.
먼저 첫 번째는요.
The first
유혁훈님입니다.
guest
여러분
is
뜨거운
Mr.
박수로
Yoo
모시겠습니다.
Hyuk-hun. So please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
네, 안녕하세요. 아재를 거부하는 아기 아빠로 본인을 소개했습니다.
He is a
중학교 2학년
daddy.
시절 PC방 열풍과 함께
And
접했다고
when he was
하는데요.
in 8th grade,
여자친구와
he
데이트에서도
started playing
이별을
StarCraft
겪을
PC
정도로
Bang,
이
and
스타크래프트를
his girlfriend actually
사랑했다고
dumped him
합니다.
because he
자,
played
이렇게 유희
StarCraft
프로님이
and spent so much
나와주셨고요.
time on the game
자,
and not his
이쪽으로 좀 자리해
girlfriend.
주시면
And so
되겠습니다.
we have Mr. Yoo
자,
Hyuk-hun
이어서
joining us.
다음
And
분인데요.
next,
대한민국에서 하는 이벤트에 참여하기 위해서
in order to take
해외에서 오신
part in
분이세요.
this event being held here in
두 분이
Korea,
하나가 돼서 같이
two people have
올라오시겠네요.
joined us.
발랑땅 레베카님을 뜨거운 박수로 모시겠습니다.
Valentine and Rebecca, please come up to the stage. They have traveled all the way to Korea.
네, 발랑땅과 레베카님은요.
So Valentine
프랑스인으로
and
스타크래프트를 너무
Rebecca, they're
좋아하고
from France, but
한국에
they
관심을
love
갖게 됐다고
StarCraft,
합니다.
and that's how
그래서
they
이번에
became
한국으로
interested
여행을
in
오게
Korea
됐고
as well.
여행으로
And
와서
so they
이벤트에
have
참여를
decided to come to
했고요.
Korea and take
가장
part in
좋아하는
this
선수들
event.
스타크래프트 이렇게 무대에 쓴 게 영광이라고 합니다.
So they are very honored to take this
부탁드리겠습니다.
place on
네,
the
발랑땅과
stage.
레베카님이 자리를 해주셨습니다.
Rebecca joining us.
부탁드리고요.
Please take your place.
그리고 또 한 분이
And then
계십니다.
we have one more person.
스타크래프트
Of
e스포츠의
course, when
발전을
we
위해
think
절대
about
빼놓을 수 없는
StarCraft esports,
엄청난
there
분들이 계세요.
is
바로 PC방
we
사장님인데요.
cannot forget the PC
전국에
Bang and
300개
their
이
CEOs
스타크래프트
and
연합을
owners.
맺고 오늘 이
And so
스타크래프트 발전을
300
위해서
PC Bangs
노력을
have
해주신
come
분에게
together
감사패와 소정의 선물을 준비했습니다.
to represent the
300개
300
PC방을
PC
대표해서
Bang.
이 자리에
We have
대표 수상을 하게 된
invited
블랙홀 PC방
from Black Hole PC
전옥규
Bang,
대표님을 뜨거운 박수로
Mr.
모시겠습니다.
Okyu. So please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
네, 이 PC방이 없었다면
So without the PC
또
Bang,
e스포츠가 없었겠죠.
I'm sure there would not
항상
have been
이렇게 e스포츠
esports,
발전을
and
위해서
so
정말 많은 노력을
the
해주시는
PC Bang
분입니다.
owners have worked very hard for the
네.
development of esports
자,
here in
안녕하세요.
Korea. So
네,
thank you very much for joining us.
드리겠습니다.
And if you could take your place on the stage.
e스포츠 선수들
So the
그리고 관계자들,
esports
스태프들,
players,
뿐만 아니라
staff,
이렇게
everyone joining
다양한
us.
곳에서 스타크래프트
You
발전을
can
위해서 노력을
see
해주신
that many
분들이
people have worked
계십니다.
very hard for the development of
이제
StarCraft.
이분들에게 진심의 마음을 담아서
And now
감사의
we
마음을 전해주실
wholeheartedly
분을
want to thank
모셔보도록
them, and
하겠습니다.
so we're going to
항상 저는
invite
이분이 나오면요
another special guest.
뭔가 팍 터질 것 같은 그런 기대감이
And
있습니다.
so whenever I
아마
see this person, I
여러분도
get
아시는
very
분일
excited,
겁니다.
and I'm sure you all know this person,
CEO 겸
the
공동
CEO and
설립자이며
co-founder
한국의
of Blizzard
팬분들에게는
Entertainment,
마사장님으로 통하는
and also
마이클
known
뜨거운
as
박수로
Ma Sa장님 in
모시겠습니다.
Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
진짜
Mr. Wang to the
박수가 날아가고
stage.
있습니다.
You can see that there are so many people who are happy to see him today.
오늘 19년 동안 스타크래프트를
So for
사랑해주신
19
대한민국
years, so
분들을
many
위해서
fans here in
끝까지 방문해
Korea
주셨습니다.
have loved
네, 다시 한번
StarCraft, and in order to
감사드리고요.
thank them, Mr. Morhaime has joined us.
그러면요, 이제 마음을 담아서
And so
선물을 드리는
we are
시간을
now going
갖도록
to
하겠습니다.
present our token of
먼저
appreciation. First
유혁훈님이세요.
is for
자,
Mr.
이쪽으로
Yu
오셨어요.
Hyuk-kun. So if you
준비된
could
것.
please come here.
와, 레이너 스타즈.
Wow, look at
피규어.
what we have
이 실물이
prepared.
6분의 1.
You can see that it's
와.
1/6 of the
여러분 뜨거운 박수
size
보내주세요.
of
예,
the character,
유혁훈님
so you can see
감사드리고요.
that it is
네.
a figurine.
자, 이어서
And then we
다음으로는
also
발랑탄과
have
레베카님
Valentine and
이쪽으로
Rebecca coming
와서
forward.
선물을 받아가시길
So
바랍니다.
please
해외여행
take
오셨대요,
your
한국에. 한국에
presents.
오셔가지고
And apparently they're
이벤트를
traveling
했는데
in
당첨이
Korea
돼가지고
and they
오늘 정말
were
기분
able
좋은
to take
날이라고
part
합니다.
in this
뜨거운
event.
박수
So this must be a
보내주십시오.
very special
네,
and memorable day
축하드립니다.
for them because
네.
they're taking part in this
자, 그리고
event
이제,
during their trip here in Korea.
PC방.
And then representing the
절대 빼놓을 수가
PC
없죠.
Bang,
전업규 대표님도
we have Mr.
자리해
Chonokyu
주시길
joining us.
부탁드리겠습니다.
So if you
자,
could
여기는
step this
감사패가
way. And so we're now going to
e스포츠 발전과
present a plaque of
또 이제,
appreciation
e스포츠가
for the
문화
development of
콘텐츠 제작 기획에 많은 노력을
esports
해주신
and culture
비선
and
대표
content.
뜨거운 박수
And
보내주십시오.
so, ladies and gentlemen, please give Mr. Chonokyu another big round of applause. So, congratulations,
네.
everyone.
이렇게 정말 고마우신 분들이 계시는데요.
So, there are so many
여기서
people
이제
we
이야기를
want
한번
to
들어보는 시간을
thank, and so maybe we should take a minute to
자,
listen to
먼저
their stories.
해외에서
So, all the
멀리서
way
오신 분들이거든요.
from France,
프랑스에서 오신
we
분이에요.
have
How do you feel?
Valentine and Rebecca.
Very nice. Fantastic. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. Me too. Me too. Thank you. Thank you. I love StarCraft. Do you like? Okay. Figure. Thank you very much. 자, 이어서 유혁훈님.
And next, Mr. Yu Hyuk-kun. He loves StarCraft, even though he's married and he has a child. I really want your prize or your present. So I started StarCraft in 8th grade, and I'm 34 years old, and I still play StarCraft. I, of course, got married, and I have to look after our kids, and I'm head of the household, so of course I don't have as much time as I used to, but I'm still very passionate about the game.
정말 스타크래프트가 이렇게 발전되는 데는
So I think for
PC방의 역할이 정말
StarCraft to
컸습니다.
develop,
PC방을
PC
대표해서
Bangs
대표님
played a very big role. So Mr. Chun, if you could say a few words,
네,
thank you.
고맙습니다.
So thank you very much.
스타크래프트 발전
So
기대하고 계시죠?
I'm sure you're looking forward to further development of StarCraft. Yes, I'm looking forward to StarCraft Remastered. I know we're all very excited, so I hope you will continue to work for the development of
그리고 이렇게
StarCraft.
여러 가지 사연을 가지고 이벤트
so
참여해주신 네 분에게
We'd like to
뜨거운
thank
박수를
the four
부탁드리겠습니다.
guests on the
자리해
stage who
주시고요.
took part in this event and share their special stories with us. Thank you.
이제 저와 마이크 모하임 CEO님이
And so
둘이 섰습니다.
now on the stage, it's only me and
과연
Mr.
오늘
Mike Morhaime.
19주년을 기념해서
So
어떤
celebrating the
이야기들을
19th
여러분에게
anniversary of
전해드릴지,
StarCraft, I
과연
wonder
여기서 뭔가 발표가 될지,
what he
어떤
has to share
감사의
with
이야기가
you. So
있을지.
I
자,
am
여러분의
curious about
뜨거운
what sort of
박수로
message he has
마이크
brought to
모하임
Korea.
CEO님의
So
이야기를
ladies and
청해
gentlemen,
듣겠습니다.
please
박수
welcome
보내주세요.
Mr. Mike Morhaime with another big round of applause as we listen to his message today.
안녕하세요. On behalf of all of us at Blizzard, we're very happy to be here today for a very special celebration. At the end of this week, will mark the 19th anniversary of the release of StarCraft. If StarCraft was a Korean baby in 1998, the baby would be considered 20 years old now. StarCraft has always enjoyed a very special relationship with Korea. We at Blizzard are very grateful for the way our game has been embraced here, and we're proud of the role that StarCraft has played in the establishment of esports as we know it today. That is something that could only have happened here in the Mecca of esports. And we thank all of you for being part of it. We do have something to share with regard to StarCraft Brood War. Later this week, we will be patching the game to version 1.18. This update will include new features and bug fixes, including an official observer mode, improved anti-cheat measures, better compatibility with modern operating systems, and more. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize the work of the engineers who helped create the Brood War community known as Fish. As many of you know, Fish has been the home to many of the most dedicated and competitive Brood War players. Starting with patch 118 and going forward, the Fish server and community will be natively supported as a gateway in StarCraft. And lastly, in patch 118, I'm very pleased to announce that this update will make StarCraft and Brood War completely free. Anyone will be able to download and play StarCraft for free following the 118 release later this week. Okay, now there is one more thing that I have to share with you today. Let's roll the video. We hope that you're as excited about StarCraft Remastered as we are. We know that fans in Korea have enjoyed StarCraft for almost the last 20 years. We wanted to show our appreciation to this amazing community with StarCraft Remastered. We hope you will enjoy playing for the next 20 years and beyond. StarCraft Remastered is coming this summer. Thank you, and you can visit www.starcraft.com for more information. Please enjoy the rest of the celebration.
마이크 모하임 CEO님이 정말 멋진 발표를 했습니다. 그토록 기다려왔던 스타크래프트 브루드 워 리마스터 버전 여기서 이제 발매일까지 이야기해 주셨습니다. 여러분이 원하시던 리마스터가
Ladies and gentlemen, the StarCraft Remastered that you've all been waiting for will come to us in summer of this year. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Blizzard Entertainment another big round of applause. Now, players will continue to realize their dreams and challenge in the esports leagues. Now there will be improved graphics and improved features, and so I think during summer we'll be able to see some wonderful matches and games. So we're not only looking at the past 20 years, but we're looking forward to the next 20 years. And now, continuing this momentum, we have the I Love StarCraft Legend matches prepared. So we're now going to signal this beginning by saying I Love StarCraft. So I'll say I love, and the audience, you can say StarCraft. Are you all ready? Is everybody ready? All right, here we go.
And so the arc of the universe does indeed bend towards justice. StarCraft Remastered is now officially a reality.
Oh my God, like, I already knew my mom was wrong, but this moment is the nail in her wrongness coffin, okay? There is nothing wrong with devoting your life to StarCraft.
That's
and
right,
it is
Artosis.
coming back. I can't believe it. It looks fantastic.
It looks really good. That's the
Oh
first
my
time we've
God.
seen it as well, guys. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we are bringing out all four of our legends. First out was Jaedong, and now we're bringing Bisu. Arguably, I think actually just fair to say, the greatest Protoss ever in StarCraft 1.
And out comes Bisu. As Tasteless said so succinctly, the greatest Protoss there ever was, changing the face of the game. But of course, there's another Protoss that's right there with him, Tasteless. And we're going to be bringing him out next.
Yeah, the best build orders of all time in StarCraft Brood War. This guy, Stork.
And out comes Stork, in great shape as well at the moment, as are these other guys. But there is one, Tasteless, the king of them all, Tasteless.
That's right. One nerd to rule them all, Artosis.
Oh my God, and we're gonna be bringing him out next, the greatest gamer ever to have lived. It's Flash.
One of these four players is going to win the Legend Show match tonight. A lot of people are saying it could be Flash, but I think honestly any of these guys could take it. They're all in great shape, and they're playing some of the best Brood War we've ever seen.
Bisu, this is really exciting moment, and after StarCraft, you became a pro gamer, and today there was a special announcement, so what do you think? So, I never imagined that this would happen, so I'm amazed. And as I play the game, you can see that these amazing things happen, and fans are so interested, and I think that's how we came to this day. So I'm sure you probably want to play very soon, right? Yes, of course. So yes, I'm very confident I will be able to play a good game. So we'll look forward to your actions and accomplishments. Do you think that this day would come when you retire? But now there's League, and then there's the remaster version that was announced. So I think today is a very meaningful day, and so for me it is a great honor to be here. I've retired, and I never imagined that this would happen, and so I'm so happy that this is happening, and I'm very grateful, and I'm playing the game every day. So I heard that you talked about the game with the Blizzard development team. So what sort of things did you talk about with the Blizzard Entertainment developers? Now, well, when we had discussions.
이런 말 해도 될지
I'm
모르겠지만
not sure if I
제가
should say
게임을
this,
해보고
but as I played
반한 게
the
있어요.
game, there was a
반한 게
few
있어요. 제가
things
핵을
that I
쐈는데
was
핵이 너무 멋있는
completely
거예요.
blown over by.
그래서
And so the hack was just amazing.
뉴클리어가 너무 멋있어서
And the nuclear
이거를
was
다른
so
뉴클리어만
amazing.
너무 돋보여가지고
So the
다른
nuclear
유닛도
was
우리
really
돋보이게 해주시면 안
amazing. And so I
되냐라고
said,
부탁을
you know, can't you make the other units as great as the nuclear?
거기에서 이 조작감 같은 거 있잖아요.
So,
선택
you
게임하는데
know, the
느낌 나면 안 되잖아요. 그
gameplay,
느낌은 어땠어요?
what was it like?
똑같고요.
Well, the gameplay
너무 똑같이
is like
만들어가지고 놀랐는데
the
거기다
same as the
그래픽이 너무
original, but the
멋있으니까
graphics was just
정말
mind-blowing,
놀랍더라고요.
and it
해보고
was
그냥
amazing.
멋있다 이런
And
말이
so I just was amazed by the game.
이제는 리마스터 버전까지 이어지게 되면은
So,
이호 선수 입장에서 전설을 만들어야 되는 거 아닙니까?
Maybe with a
이 실력적인
remastered
부분에서
version, maybe
어떤
you should,
마음가짐으로
you
경기를
know,
임하실 건지
become a
말씀해
legend
주신다면요.
again.
예, 뭐 항상
The rebirth of a
저는
legend.
진짜
Oh,
누구보다
well,
열심히
I
한다는
think
생각으로 정말
I
열심히 항상
always
하고요.
try to do
또
my
이렇게 리마스터
best,
버전이 나오면
and with the
더 열심히
remastered
해서
version,
계속해서 좋은
I
성적
will
거둘 수
continue
있도록 하겠습니다.
to work hard and to
자,
make
이어서
more
폭군
accomplishments.
JD
And
이재동 선수도 이 리마스터 버전 이
Jaedong
개발
joining us.
단계에서
So while
플레이 테스트에 참여했다고 이야기
Remastered was being
들었는데요.
developed, I heard you
이재동
took
선수가
part
느끼는
in
리마스터
the
버전은요?
test play. So what do you think about the game?
제가 느꼈을 때는
So
그냥 저도 해보고 나서
after
그냥
playing
감탄밖에
the game, I was
안 했고요.
just blown away
팬
and
여러분들이
amazed.
그 무엇을 기대하든 그
And
이상
I'm sure
될
that
거라고
for our fans, it will be something that goes beyond
그럼
your
한 가지 질문 또
expectations.
드릴게요.
So I have one more question for you.
이재동에게 스타크래프트란?
So what is StarCraft to you?
일단
JD
제가
Jaedong.
어렸을 때부터
So since I was very young,
함께 했었고,
I
제 학창
spent
시절에
time
계속
playing
함께
StarCraft
했었고,
during my school years, and even now through StarCraft I was able to realize all my dreams. And so StarCraft for me is my life.
삶이다라는 말씀을
So you just
해주셨습니다.
said that
자,
StarCraft is your
그러면요.
life.
항상 그
And
누구보다도 이 분석적으로 게임을
think,
다가가는 송병구 선수 이야기를 한번 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
Stork is very analytical in playing the game, and so you've been communicating with the Blizzard development team, and also you've taken part in the test play. So maybe if you could share with us what it was like to play the game. So it's a classic game that has been beloved by so many people, but now with HD version, I was thinking about how it would actually unfold. But now with the HD version, you can see that the original gameplay has been well preserved, and yes, the game play has been really well, I think, preserved. And so there's a lot of options for users, and so I really loved playing the game.
그럼 이 자리를 빌어서 블리자드 개발진과
So
마이크 모하임 CEO님에게
we have Mr. Mike Morhaime and the Blizzard development team joining us. What would you like to say? Well, StarCraft, the original StarCraft, it's been 19 years, and so thank you once again for putting your interest and affection into this game. And I would like to thank the fans out there for their love of StarCraft. I think we're here today because of the game and the fans, and so we would like to continue to do our best. So thank you very much. And I think the only thing left for us is the games.
오늘 김태경 선수와 경기 펼칠 각오 한번 들어보겠습니다. 오늘 이
Now
무대에서
the legends
블리자드
joining
관계자분들
us.
오셨거든요.
So we have many people joining us. So Bisu, Kim Tae-young, could you share with us your thoughts? I think that this is the second time the four of us got together. And you can see it's going to be very competitive, so you cannot imagine who's going to win. But I hope I can show you a good game.
이영호 선수도 오늘 이 무대
이영호, Flash 이영호. So I'm sure you probably prepared a lot for this stage. If you could share your thoughts with us. Unfortunately, in the first round, I did not make it into the final four, but I hope to win this Legends match.
JD 이제 적의 폭군 포스를
JD
좀 보여줘야
Jaedong,
되거든요.
so
오늘 경기 각오 한
you
말씀.
know you're the tyrant. So how are you going to play this game? I'm going to be number one.
저 송병구 선수
And now
갚아줘야 되거든요.
Stork, 송병구. I think last Busan I lost to Jaedong, and so I hope I can do a better job this time around. So, ladies and gentlemen, now I Love StarCraft. Who is going to be the winner? So we're going to now, in a few minutes, begin the I Love StarCraft Legends match.
I took my troubles down to Madame Ruth. You know that gypsy with the gold cap too. She's got a pad down on 30 for the mind, selling little bottles of love potion number 9. Love potion number 9. Love potion number 9. Love potion number 9.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
하루에도 수십 번 네 걱정 만족할 테고 거리 재봤는데 내 집에서 네 집까지 반대요. 그래서 걱정하는 거야. 네가 어딜 가든 뭘 하든 너 앞에도 네 집처럼 난 반대요. 너처럼 이쁜 여자 그리 많진 않아. 내 연애는 딱 이걸로 끝이야. 왜 내가 가서 쓰면 다 디스 같지만 너 왜는 말어 이 말 좋은 뜻이야. 너라고 마지막 나이가 많건 적건 그건 알 바 아니고 여자라는 거에 중심을 뒀으니 하라도 어디 가든 조심해. 늑대들이 많잖아. 늑대들과 다르게 난 범이라는 걸 알잖아. 밤길이 무서울 때 내 목소리를 들어. 지금 이 비트 위에 내가 말하는 것처럼 너를 위한 곡이니까 부담 없이 들어. 바쁘지 않으니까 꼭 끝남 핸드폰 들어. 내게 부르는 노래 다른 남자와는 달리 난 거짓말을 못해. 너란 여자에게 상처를 줬는 게 그 남자들은 이해가 안 돼. 널 격하게 아낀 격하게 아낀 더 격하게 아낀 좀 더 가까이 와봐. 다시 말해줄게 널 격하게 아낀.
뭐야 또 샀어? 제정신이야?
안 샀지. 케이티는 공짜니까. 내게 부르는 노래 다른 남자와는 달리 난 거짓말을 못해. 너란 여자에게 상처를 줬는 게 그 남자들은 이해가 안 돼. 널 격하게 아낀 격하게 아낀 더 격하게 아낀 좀 더 가까이 와봐. 다시 말해줄게 널 격하게 아낀.
이 사운드 뭐야? 너가 본 것 같아.
고음질 5.1 채널을 아직도 몰라. KT잖아. 널 격하게 아낀 격하게 아낀 더 격하게 아낀.
오, 좋아. 아, 왜 이렇게 안 열려? 아, 왜 이렇게 느려? 다 나왔어? 여보세요?
여보세요? 오빠 그거 샀어요?
나 아직도 하고 있어.
오빠 KT 기가 인터넷을 써야죠. 이거 빨라가지고 나 금방 다 샀는데.
뭐 샀어?
아니 인터넷 뭐 쓰길래 그렇게 느려요? KT 기가 아니에요?
속도가 10배? 아, 왜 몰랐지? 역시 해외 직구도 KT.
안녕하세요, 여러분. 반갑습니다. 처음이죠, 아프리카 TV 방송하는 거.
보는 것도 거의 몇 번.
아, 진짜요? 저 뭐하는 자식이야? 그 여자로 보여로 굉장히 유명한 가수죠. 가수 훈이야이십니다. 반갑습니다.
가수 유명한 게 아니라
네.
노래만 유명.
아, 벌칙을 받아야 되는데. 저희 벌칙이 네, 볼에 뽀뽀가 나왔습니다. 근데 누가 볼에 뽀뽀? 아, 근데 보고 싶다. 어머,
네가 여자로 보여 너의 하나부터 열까지 다 내 마음.
뭐야? 야! 뭘 하는 거야, 뭐. 어떻게 너무 한 거야? 하나, 둘, 셋.
오, 이거는
안 돼!
네가 여자로 보여 너의 하나부터 열까지 다 내 마음을 녹여.
아, 짜증나! 아, 버퍼! 움직이라고! 내가 그러니까 KT 기가 인터넷을 바꾸라고 했지? 날 그렇게 띄엄띄엄 보는 거야? 하, 진짜 방송 좀 스무스하게 보자니까 그게 그렇게 어려워? 아, 답답하다.
갈치나 먹으러 갈까? 아, 표가 없네. KT를 구했지. 기가 인터넷 아니냐. 우와.
따라와.
대박이다. 갈치 봐봐. 쩐다.
따봉.
야, 뭐 먹고 싶은 거 없냐 또?
좀 달달한 거 먹고 싶지 않으세요?
씨앗호떡 먹으러 갈까? 그러면?
씨앗호떡 여기 있어요. 여기도.
부산을 가자.
아니 여기 제주도인데 부산까지 어떻게 가요 지금?
가면 되지. 기다려봐봐. 항공권 예매할게.
에? 지금이요?
어.
제주도에서 부산을 간다고요? 저 없을걸요?
아니야, 오빠 지금 구해서 잠깐만. 오케이, 예약했어.
벌써요?
어.
표가 있어요?
몰랐어. 씨앗호떡 집이 저쪽 앞에 있거든.
아 저기 있어.
맛있지?
네 완전 맛있어요.
KT 쓰니까 비행기 빨리빨리 타고 다니고 기가 막히게 빨리 왔잖아. 다음에는 해외로 가자.
And we are back and ready to start the legend match. Our first two players, Jaedong versus Stork.
Yeah, it is going to be epic, no doubt about that. What an exciting day, Tasteless. Oh my God.
I know, man.
StarCraft is 19 years old. We're getting a new patch for StarCraft 1. Oh yeah, the graphics are all going to look sick sometime during the summer. Like,
yeah.
Well, oh my God.
Tell you what I'm doing this summer, not going outside.
Reverting to my previous form.
Yeah, that's right. It's time to go to my natural state, sitting indoors.
Gonna ask my mom if she can clear out the attic for me to move back in.
Oh, man. Guys, we are going to tailor this cast for people that do not necessarily know that much about Brood War. So if you want to learn, now's the time.
Yeah, and since, well, everything's going to be super accessible, and there's going to be a remastered version coming out, probably everyone should be tuning in and trying to learn because damn if Brood War is not, like, it's one of those esports, right, where mechanically it's the hardest game ever made. It has by far the biggest storylines and the longest history.
Oh, yeah.
It's like not even close, man.
And I want to say this as well. It's never too late to pick up an old game.
Yeah.
There are so many people in Korea and outside Korea. A lot of people that maybe started following esports just a couple of years ago might not be aware that a site like Team Liquid back in the early Brood War days was 10 times bigger than the site InVen.
Yeah, that's true.
InVen is the biggest StarCraft site in Korea at the time. There's a huge number of people around the globe that love competitive StarCraft, not just Artosis and myself, but a lot.
Yes.
And we're going to probably see a lot of big names, a lot of grown-up nerds coming back to compete.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I really want to see some grown-up nerds, our old buddies, coming
That's
back
right.
into the game with the release of Remastered.
So for our matches tonight, it's a best of one, Jaedong versus Stork on one side of the bracket. On the other side, a best of one with Bisu versus Flash.
Yeah, so this is a pretty sick tournament. It's the same bracket that we had when we were down in Busan, of course, and that was quite a blast. But will Stork be able to get some revenge here on Jaedong?
That's the big question.
Well, Jaedong's ZVP was just out of control during ASL. Like, he was in really top form, looked like the best in the world at this match once again. So, I don't know, man. This is going to be a hard one for Stork.
I think it's very fair to say that Jaedong should be the favorite here. But look, Stork has got some crazy builds. Really, the best builds that came out of Brood War were from Stork. This is a guy, if you could steal some Stork replays, you were set.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this guy would, like, he would lose so much stuff in a sloppy manner or something, and you'd be like, okay, well, he must be dead. Nope, still has way more than his opponent.
Strategically, this guy is on top of his game. Jaedong, unbelievable control here in Zerg versus Protoss in the current Brood War meta, and the meta does still continue to change and evolve, and there are still new maps coming out all the time. We've seen the Sauron Zerg style come back into play. That's a lot of mass Hydras, and you're really trying to outmaneuver your opponent, dodging Psy Storm, sniping critical units, and eventually overwhelming them. How will Stork try to combat that? I'm not entirely sure. Just like in StarCraft 2, doing fast expands for PvZ is pretty much a necessity. It's very difficult to get away with a build where you're not taking an Nexus right away. That does allow Zerg to try to do some exploitative strats to try to punish them early on. Just like in a Protoss versus Terran, there's a lot of sneaky stuff Protoss can do to abuse the Terran. In a Zerg versus Protoss, there's a lot of sneaky stuff early on that the Zerg can do to beat up on the Protoss.
Yeah, early on at least, Zerg going to have that map control, which is so powerful, and Jaedong uses those situations to completely outmind game most opponents. But if there is a guy who can stand up to him, maybe indeed it is Stork. This guy has beaten Jaedong plenty of times over the years, as you guys can see. They have a pretty even record, and Stork is getting in better and better shape.
Yeah,
he came back the latest out of all the top 4 guys. Like, everyone came back to Brood War at different times. Jaedong and Flash are still playing StarCraft 2 for quite a while.
That's right.
But Stork coached right up until the end of Kespa, so he was very busy not practicing StarCraft 1. But here we are, and the longer that they all have to train, the closer they're all going to get in skill.
And don't forget, guys, when we're done with the Legend Show match for StarCraft 1, we have the GSL Codes Finals. That's Sue versus Stats. This may be the best finals we've ever had.
Oh, my God.
So,
Suver's stats is just...
Get some caffeine.
Oh, man.
Get some caffeine. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get this this underway.
Yeah, it's just a crazy match indeed. Like, to have these 4 guys once again. And, of course, in ASL, all of them made it really deep. In fact, all 4 of them making it into the round of 8. That's never even happened before in the history of Brood War.
Yeah.
And to have them once again in this show match, it's so nice. Guys, go out and spread the word.
Yeah, tell your friends to join us here as Brood War is coming back, Artosis. And guys, those of you watching, maybe you're a little bit younger than us dinosaur nerds.
Yes.
Maybe you just weren't around. You weren't born at the right time in history
to
have grown up playing Brood War. But we are going to show you the way.
Born too late to be a samurai, born too early, or... Wait, no, reverse of that. Anyways,
born too late to explore the Earth, born too early to explore outer space, born just in time to learn about Brood War and come up with dank memes on the internet.
Indeed. Well, luckily the game is coming back and going to be more people than ever looking upon it. So this match tonight, let this be your first time truly studying the greatest players ever to have lived for whatever race you might be playing.
Yeah, it's such a balanced game, by the way. It's truly remarkable. And we've had the maps more and more refined. We're still seeing the meta evolve and grow. I know it was super exciting for you and me, Artosis, when ASL started out. We kind of saw in some of these matchups how people are approaching things quite differently from when we used to play.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, or maybe just know us from StarCraft 2, we've actually been playing Brood War competitively since the very beginning.
Yes.
We were around at the starting point
That's right.
of this game.
19 years I've been playing StarCraft.
So
like, that
crazy.
I am about to turn 34, so that's like an extremely long amount of time.
That's right.
Well over half my life.
What an awesome day, man. I am just so, I was almost getting choked up.
I know.
Almost had a couple tears run down my face as I saw the remastered version of Brood War. It looks fantastic. Guys, this is the actual starting point of all of esports. Brood War.
Yes.
Know your roots.
Now, this is Korea, of course, putting games on TV way in front of anyone else.
Way early.
Yeah, and you know, it's been such a blast to watch the scene grow up and the players, in fact, themselves grow up as well. And see everyone now, and it's just like they're getting older, like Boxer has kids, Nana has kids, Artosis has kids. It's like everyone's growing up, but the game is not going away, my friend.
That's right. A lot of people now teaching their kids Brood War and passing the torch on to the next generation, as Brood War is never going to die.
No. I really, truly see that now, Tasteless, that this game cannot be killed.
All right, guys, let's learn some Brood War. This is Jaedong versus Stork to start off the Legend Show match.
All right, guys, the map is Outsider.
That's right. In the center left, in the red, our Zerg player, it's Jaedong. And in the bottom right, in the blue, our Protoss player, it's Stork.
Outsider, definitely a map that can lean towards Zerg as far as balance goes. What will Stork do here to try to, you know, make it even in that regard?
A lot of times you want to play an unorthodox game on a map that you might not be comfortable on, especially in the early game. Stork is the king of builds. This guy has really engineered some of the craziest, some of them risky, some of them really solid strategies. So we know, especially since this is a best of one, he should be coming in here with some kind of a plan.
Yeah, and definitely going to be a gateway opener as we see that pylon in his main base. Could even be 2 gates. Definitely a possibility. Saw Rain do that recently on this map against Sulky.
So this is an unorthodox style of playing.
Well, you know, it's an unorthodox map, really. Very, very much so, especially for this matchup, I would say. But really, any matchup now that you think about it, you know, you see a TVT here, it's going to be very air-based. Anything is going to be very air-based. If Stork can live a decent amount of time, get Corsairs out, and actually have a shuttle, then hey, he can make this into a game. But this early game, at least, I really see to be Jaedong favored.
It's going to be very tough. So, for those of you guys that are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with Brood War and aren't sure what are the defining differences from Brood War to StarCraft 2, it's important to note the mechanical aspect of the game. It's truly a very mechanical game. You cannot have more than a dozen units in a control group. You cannot have more than 1 building in a control group. And let me just make this clear. If you could have more than that, it would break the game.
Yes, the game would
become insanely imbalanced. So there's a lot more tactical approaches that you have to take. How do you group? How do you surround? How do you flank? And of course, how do you divide those units up into those proper control groups? As you get further ahead of your opponent in a game like Brood War, that means you have more tasks to juggle. If you have more bases, that's more buildings that you have to manage and cycle through. If you get a bigger army, you have more control groups. So in a very interesting way, this invisible comeback mechanic that happens. The further ahead you get, the more tasks you are required you have to keep multitasking more and more and more and more and more. And that's tough. So we do see games a lot of times seesaw back and forth.
The bigger you get, the harder it becomes to get anything done, really. And I mean, it's such a fun way to actually look at this game, because you really shouldn't ever lose hope. It's really hard to kill your opponent in Brood War. So thus, if you get behind, man, definitely a chance for you to come back.
So it's 2 probe hits, 2 zealot hits to kill a drone. Stork is going to go for a fast expand in the back of his base with a 1-gate zealot rush. This is actually pretty popular in general in the Korean meta. He gets 1 drone. Keep in mind, you start out with a lot less workers in Brood War, so every worker kill you get is actually huge. He's going to park the zealot behind the mineral patch. That does not give good surface area for those Zerglings, and the second zealot is on the way up.
Oh, fantastically done. All the Zerglings going behind right now to flank this zealot, but it's being as cost efficient as it possibly can be. The second zealot coming in, going to that mineral line, trying to get a drone.
Meanwhile, the other zealot does still live. He's actually evacuating that one out right now. Still, the zealot abusing the locations here behind the minerals to make it much tougher for these Lings to get a surround. We do have a third base for the Zerg. In the very upper left corner of the map, right now, though, Stork doing a brilliant job. He has not lost a zealot yet. In fact, he's going to come back in with this one zealot here. I don't know if Jaedong's ready.
Fantastically done by Stork, but Jaedong with a fantastic micro. God, pulls the drone up as well, stops that zealot dead and saves his economy.
Now, I don't believe we had a forge tech over here. He's actually going right into the cybernetics core because he's going to have a ramp, or he just has a ramp, I should say. Stork does at his entrance. He'll eventually slow down these zealots and use them to block off to deny a counterattack here from Jaedong. So far, Stork doing a very good job. I do like the zealot tucked over here into the corner. Again, a tough spot. These Lings can engage it properly without really not being cost efficient, and that does pin the Zerg into his base, giving Stork a lot more freedom.
Yeah, and he might even be hiding this right now. I'm not sure Jaedong even realizes that this is there, because if his Zerglings go too far away and the zealot goes in, he's going to get another drone or at least force a full evacuation of the mineral patches.
So we have the second gateway coming down here now. Now there's a massive amount of Lings looking like they're going to counter, and he's going to do a drone drill. Okay, so when you take your drones, you can right-click on a mineral patch. Hold up. He's still hitting these workers over here.
Ooh.
Good control here by Jaedong.
This control by Jaedong out of control.
So he's going to do the drone drill. He's right-clicking the drones onto the minerals inside of the base. He'll then hit stop to try to force the zealots to move off, and he's doing it right now.
Wow, the Zerglings get on top of one of these zealots. That first one will go down. The Zerglings getting on the ramp, but a probe drill comes down to try to screw up their AI. A couple of zealots up at the top with the Dragoon trying to hold on.
Now keep in mind, in Brood War, it'll always prioritize other attacking units over workers, so the workers can be much stronger when trying to hold off an attack. He still has these 2 zealots, the 1 drone, and the few Lings. This attack here by Jaedong may have failed.
It certainly may have. 1 drone's kept alive here. More and more Zerglings flooding across the map. He still wants to try to kill him off. Almost no mining going on in the main base of Stork. He does have some at that back natural, but he's got to hold on right now.
The Lings are spilling in here. The probes trying to get in the way. A few of the Lings in the back now hitting this Dragoon. Dragoon micro over to the side. Zealots here to cover as well.
Wow, a lot of micro on the ramp. The probes keep trying to mess up these Zerglings. 1 zealot goes all the way down the ramp, but he is slowing everything down. The Dragoon ends up falling. Probes still out here fighting strong, but more and more Speedlings are coming up.
He just needs to break them, but there's no more drones here to help drill through. A worker count right now for Jaedong pretty damn low. We do have 1 Ling in the main, still trying to hit as many of these workers as possible. The Lings at the front here, unable to breach this. If Stork can end up teching into a Corsair, he could end up stabilizing, but it looks like he's so low on income right now. He's stuck right there, just with a few zealots to hold this off.
Yeah, well, you know what? As long as he holds these zealots at the top of that ramp, this is no longer really too breakable. He's going to have to drone drill again if he wants to break this efficiently. Does Jaedong actually bring more drones, though? This is like endless Zerglings. Oh my God, he is sacrificing every little bit of his economy.
You know, Stork had a strong opening, and Jaedong took a very big risk, sacking some of those workers in an attempt to breach that wall. This is a lot of Lings down here. He, actually, no, you know what? I think he actually can hold this. I think Stork still can hold this.
No, totally.
He actually made the right
drones,
call. Yeah.
He's going to hold it fine, I believe, you know, and the thing is, with Corsairs out, he's going to get a scout off of how many drones are. That'll tell him how many Zerglings are, basically. And, you know, harassing some of these Overlords before the Hydra's Den is even done. Stork is in good shape here.
And from here, it looks like Jaedong is going to be on a no-layer tech. He's just going to be pumping out mass Hydras. He may try to go aggro here and try to break the ramp by using the Hydra range here. The Zealots do not have Zealot legs yet. That's a big game changer. When the Zealot legs do finish, they can really engage Zerglings properly.
Yeah, by the way, those Zerglings that were standing at the bottom of the ramp there for Stork, those are bait Zerglings. He wants the Zealots to move. He wants a chase right there. He's trying to pretend he has less Zerglings than he actually does.
Oh, I think it might have worked. We're going to get a shot of it right down here. He's drawing him out. The Lynx come in. The bait did end up working. The Lynx now spilling in, and they're going to get a premium surround here on these Zealots.
All right, a decent pullback by Stork gets him on the ramp. Wow, that was good crisis management. If he had been stuck all the way out there, Jaedong would have pulled a win right there. But again, there's enough Zealots that he should be able to hold this ramp.
Okay, he does manage to hold it. That actually went a lot better for Stork than I thought it was. The Hydras will eventually be pushing down here. Again, no layer tech, so Lurkers are not a threat. What Stork is trying to do is build up enough Corsairs that the Hydras are forced to stay at home to protect the Overlords. If you do not defend the Overlords properly against the Corsair harass, the game will snowball out of control and Zerg will be endlessly supply blocked. He's coming in here now. I don't see the Hydras here to defend. They're in the wrong position.
No, it's going to take them a while to chase these out of here. In the meantime, an Evolution Chamber on the way so he can get a Spore Colony or two, throw those down. But is that going to be enough to actually stop this harassment of Corsairs? Jaedong is in a tough spot in like every single way right now.
He does have a cannon set up over here. It's going to be set up to try to help defend this. Meanwhile, the Corsairs are still doing a lot of damage to these Overlords, 4 in total. And Stork is microing brilliantly. Keep in mind, they do splash damage, so when these Overlords are bunched up like this, they go down a lot more quickly.
Wow, another 3-4 Overlords being taken out in a matter of seconds here by Stork. Continues to have this advantage running off of his ramp for a moment. He has that speed upgrade, no +1 attack yet, but still the speed upgrade itself is great for engaging these Zerglings.
Yeah, and the Hydras as well. Keep in mind, guys, +1 attack Zealots actually do, they can kill Zerglings in 2 hits instead of 3. But right now, these do not have that upgrade. Jaedong with some very good surrounding here. You can see Stork trying to regroup, get those Zealots back together. Meanwhile, the Corsairs continuing to obliterate all these Overlords back here.
Ooh, the Zerglings trying to run towards that main base, but too many Zealots for Stork. He's up to about 4 gateways right now, still trying to get that +1 attack and still wiping the floor with all of Jaedong's Overlords.
I think that this risk, oh, hold up, he actually got 2 of those Corsairs. That's pretty huge. You really need to keep those Corsairs alive for as long as possible. Here comes that counterattack now. These Zealots heading in over to this expansion. Does Jaedong have enough?
This is going to be very tough indeed to hold, making another sunken. He has the Lynx to buffer for these Hydras, but once they chew through the Lynx, the Hydras will be next. Getting on top of these Hydras is Stork. Drones being pulled, trying to block, but I don't know if it's really going to hold.
Okay, with the second sunken colony, he does decide to back out. Also important to note, there's a 3rd base here for Stork being taken at the bottom center. And I think, to be honest, Stork is in a very good position in this game. Zerg has not really been able to tech because, you know, there was such a very high-risk, high-reward situation for Jaedong that he set up, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
with that drone drill.
Yeah, with the drone drill and then the follow-up of just unlimited speedlings. And the fact that he didn't surround all those Zealots makes it very tough for him to actually come back at the moment. Now, a lot of Hydras kind of moving down the map right here. Shuttle picking up these Zealots. Looks like he wants to pull off a draw.
He's going to do an elevator strat here. He's going to try to get some of these Zealots over here into the main, start hitting drones, and possibly dive in onto the expansion at the front, really keeping the pressure on his opponent. You can see Jaedong's aware of the idea, but didn't quite scout efficiently enough, and those are going to be able to get in there.
Corsairs continue to take damage. Not too many of them left over, but that doesn't really matter that much right now for Stork. He doesn't care because his ground army is getting to be so superior. His economy is better. He's taking his 3rd base. Everything's working out fantastically
So
for him.
Psionic Storm should be almost finished. And with Psionic Storm, it becomes much tougher for the Hydras to directly engage the Protoss army. By the way, Stork also has 1 Dark Templar here. Keep in mind, these Corsairs have really been bullying these Overlords around. If he can get that DT anywhere where an Overlord is not, then he's going to end up taking out a lot of workers.
Yeah, starts to push everything back there at the front, but Jaedong pulls back into a nice defensive stance. Zealots being dropped off right now. A Dark Templar as well.
Okay,
looks like he's
here we
gonna
go.
try to get some harassment done while these Hydras chase
There's
him.
no Overlord.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. And keep in mind, it doesn't tell you that your workers are being hit until they take damage. So if it gets a kill, it won't alert you.
Yeah, one hit, one kill.
Oh, my God.
You just don't even know what's happening.
This is
now
so
the
good.
Zealots in the main. Oh, my God. This is a massive amount of damage being done to Jaedong's economy right now.
He needs to actually
What are you
attack
doing,
that. What are you
Stork?
doing, Stork?
Stork.
Use that DT, Stork. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, this is just crazy, man. Jaedong probably doesn't even know that these drones are dying. Definitely does not.
Yep, his screen is somewhere else. He's too busy, preoccupied right now with that. But these Hydras are going to come in. Is this army big enough? A good storm goes down.
Oh, monster storm comes out of Stork here, flanking down against the wall with the speed Zealots. Just trying to run away.
Oh my God, he taps out. GG. That was a beautiful and very technical game there by Stork. Denying the drone drill, that attack from Jaedong, putting him economically behind. Then with that shuttle coming in, dropping the 4 Zealots as well as the DT. He was hitting 2 critical locations at once while still having a stronger army. Jaedong needed to go a more traditional route if he was going to beat a player like Stork, and that's how Stork is now in the finals of the Legend Show match.
Yeah, great job there by Stork, showing the type of form he's in at the moment. Jaedong, you know, he played well. He tried the drone drill. It didn't quite work out. He tried to follow up with Masslings, and even with Stork leaving his ramp, was not quite able to get the surround he needed to kill those Zealots. A tough game for Jaedong. He took a few too many gambles that didn't pay off.
I gotta say, I think everybody can agree that was a pretty big upset. We all know that Stork is good, but Jaedong right now has been in fantastic form. So for Stork to win there, that's huge. I'm really curious to see how he's gonna perform in the finals.
Yeah, and whoever he plays against, Stork absolutely can win that. Stork is very well known for having monstrous PvP and PvT, really all 3 matchups, but I always kind of lean towards those 2 as being his strongest, Tasteless.
I agree. So that means coming up next, Artie, we got Flash versus Bisu. This is going to be sick.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Ooh, the greatest Terran of all time, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Greatest gamer of all time. And, you know, Bisu, he's a magnificent Protoss, the best that there's ever been, really. But can he hold on against Flash's monstrous TVP?
That is the big question. Bisu, just such a well-rounded Protoss, and he really, especially against Terran, knows how to engineer a win in almost any situation. If he does anything that's risky, he's got a plan B, a plan C, and so on. I don't know if we're going to have a traditional Terran versus Protoss.
Yeah, I don't know. Bisu oftentimes does mix it up and gets aggressive in the early game, so he could try that against Flash. If Flash gets caught off guard at all, he could be going down quick.
I'm expecting Flash to take this, but it very well could be a PvP finals here with Stork versus Bisu. Flash is somebody that really showed the world that as tricky as Terran versus Protoss is early on, you can survive anything if you are perfect in your control and then just out-muscle the Protoss later on. The way this matchup operates, and this is, by the way, the origin of mech builds that we're seeing. When StarCraft Brood War first came out, it was really tough for the Terrans. They could not figure out how to take on these Protosses. And I believe the first person to really start using, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was B-Blade Leader.
He revolutionized how to use the Vulture, and
that's
that
right.
was really the bedrock upon which mech was built.
Initially, people thought that Vultures were actually pretty bad units, which sounds funny to say now because
Yeah,
it's so
everyone
insanely
thought
strong.
they were terrible at the very beginning.
B-Blade Leader showed everybody that if you could control that unit really well, you can take out...
It's like basically the best unit in the game.
Yeah, you could just do so much damage. It's insane. And then from there, they figured out, okay, well, Vultures are good against Protoss with the Spider Mines, with their speed, the fact they can kill probes in 2 shots. Let's incorporate some tanks in there since we're already making factories, and that's how you got your mech. Let's see how the mech is going to be today here for Flash, because Bisu can take out anybody. This guy has so many good builds.
Yeah, and he's definitely in top form. Was one of the favorites going into the last ASL season. Of course, Flash ended up taking that one down. Definitely the best player in the world at the moment. But Bisu, he came to here to play tonight, Taste. There's a huge prize pool on the line as well.
Very excited to see how Bisu is going to play here in this game. You know, Flash is generally somebody who doesn't do rushes early on. He's much more well known for being the orthodox Terran.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, you know, when he very first started poking his head out and showing he could win games, one of the big matches he won was against Bisu with an all-in when he was a little kid. Bisu was already kind of a household name, and Flash was able to cheese him out in a really magnificent fashion. But Since then, Flash has grown into the scariest macro player amongst all macro players of every race.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying to play against. And I do wonder, does Bisu have an ace up his sleeve, some kind of crazy proxy, some kind of
Well, he doesn't
rush.
only have an ace up his sleeve, he has a rabbit in his hat.
That's right.
Like, he also has like a
couple doves up there as well.
Chain of scarves in his nose somehow. I don't even know, man.
That's
but,
crazy.
Like, Bisu is one of the most creative players ever to have played the game. The revolutionist himself, changing Protoss first Zerg single-handedly. I mean, he'll bring in something nice here.
Yeah, it could be anything, man. Again, this is a best of one, guys. So if you're just now joining us in what was a pretty big upset, Stork actually manages to crush Jaedong.
Well, he's showing the type of shape that he's in right now. You know, the last few matches he had against Jaedong were tough ones. Jaedong was really showing great games, and Stork was not able to keep up. But you know, it's been longer now. Again, Stork, he switched back to Brood War later than the rest of these guys, so it takes a little while to kind of catch up to where they're at. But with those initial amounts of games through, I feel like everyone here is getting pretty even.
All right, and there's the man himself, Flash. This is the greatest gamer of all time.
Yes. He has just, like, see that list of accomplishments that you guys, most of you can't read? That's in Korean right there?
Yeah, see that stick circle
That's
fight
not
you don't
everything.
understand? Yeah.
The stick circle fight. No, he's done so much more than that. It's actually crazy. Like, he is the most dominant player for the longest history, most competitive game, which is StarCraft 1 in Korea during its prime. And, like, not only that, he went into StarCraft 2, was fantastic at StarCraft 2, even taking down an IEM.
That's
and
right.
Getting deep in multiple tournaments. But then he went back to Brood War and just won the previous ASL. And there's a decent amount of high-end pro gamers who've been playing for years while Flash is playing StarCraft 2. So, like, this guy's innate ability is just beyond anything that we can really explain.
All right, we are going to be on a different map. Bear in mind, this is a very complex matchup, Protoss versus Terran. The Protoss generally defaults into map control, continues to grow and expand. The Protoss almost operates the way you'd imagine a Zerg to be. However, the Protoss's units, as the game gets further and further along, tend to be a little bit weaker against that mech army. Mech is just so cost efficient. The damage output can be insane, especially if you engage incorrectly as the Protoss. So Protoss eventually has to rely on counterattacks, perhaps recalling into the opponent's base, and trying to outlast them. So we'll see what kind of game that is. At the same time, Protoss have a lot of sneaky tricks as the Terran players trying to develop into a proper mech army. There are so many ways Protoss can try to come in there, slice down the defenses, and take that player out. Anyways, guys, this is Bisu versus Flash, a fight to get to the final of the Legend Show match. All right, it's on, and we are in cross spots this time around. So to introduce our first player in the upper left, our Protoss player, he is Bisu. And his opponent here in the bottom right, many say he is currently the best StarCraft Brood War player in the world. He is Flash.
Should be a fun one. Cross spawns right now, pretty far away from each other. La Mancha, a new map for me, Tasteless.
Yeah, for me as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one goes down. But, of course, as you were saying, TVP, pretty damn technical matchup in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's actually really fun to play on both sides. I'm a Protoss player, but I actually have a lot of fun playing as Terran in this matchup. So what do we want to watch for here? Let's first look for when they scout. Bisu, by the way, making a pylon and then still not scouting. This is more common in the current meta of Brood War. Back in the earlier days, people would scout immediately after pylon, but it's basically been deemed probably better to use that initial probe to try to mine minerals. The Terran mechs about like 95, 99% of the time. I mean, occasionally you'll see these builds to throw off the other player.
Yeah, like
I
there
doubt
are
we're gonna have that
various like marine-based all-ins and stuff, but like every single one of them used at the pro level is in response to something Protoss does.
That's right.
Like, you'll never see someone just open up with Marines, like, realistically, unless the thing is they're kind of trying to blind counter what the Protoss is doing, because if the Protoss has a safe build, it's just dead. Anyways, Barracks being placed pretty forward there. We'll see if he ends up getting a gas with this or instead just wants to go directly into a CC. It's looking, though, very much like it should be just a very fast command center without gas.
So this used to be considered much more risky. It's really funny. You know, if you look at the history of Brood War, all the different builds that were used in the different matchups on the different maps at the time. So what Flash is doing back in the earlier days of Brood War would have been considered impossible. Protoss is so scary early on. But he's got these fast expanding builds mapped out very nicely and can just barely get out that siege tank in time to not die to the Dragoon range rush.
Yeah.
The Dragoons with range outrange bunkers.
Yes.
You basically almost always immediately get Dragoon range when the Cybernetics core is done. There's a few moments where you can try to like cut corners and maybe get like a robo out there. But the Dragoons are basically the staple unit of Protoss versus Terran. So he's going to have this set up. He'll have a bunker made shortly over here. And he's going to then race into getting one tank out and eventually going into more factories and vultures. And even the placement of this depot here is to make sure that if the Dragoons come and they see the bunker, they don't run by into the main, because that's another problem that can happen a lot.
The thing is, you'll have 4 Marines in your bunker, right? But their damage output isn't that big compared to how much health the Dragoons have. And the only reason this even works is because you can repair that bunker a lot. So it's this very fine line that you're treading as a Terran player. In fact, we've seen Protosses in the past, and even occasionally recently, go for like 2 gateway range Dragoons, get 6 of them out, pounding that bunker, and against that, you need to have 5-6 SCVs repairing. You start stepping forward and one-shotting the SCVs with your Dragoons.
That's
and
right.
When that starts to occur, things get very tough as a Terran player, and you have to be careful not to let your bunker break and not to let Dragoons run by, because either one can spell disaster.
So this SCV is coming in here, and it will identify for Flash, and everything looks very standard for the Protoss. Now, there's a lot of different branches that the Protoss can take. The Protoss can be very deceptive in this matchup, so you want to try to get in there and see, okay, like, for instance, he saw the Dragoon range is being upgraded because he knows that Cybernetics core had the little spinning animation on top of it. So he says, okay, this looks to be standard.
Yeah, it looks like there's probably going to be a Nexus coming down. There should be a decent Dragoon pressure at his front, 3-4 Dragoons before he gets a siege tank out. And that's kind of the normal. Like, Flash shouldn't be too scared about anything here. Now, if he had seen, let's say, 2 gateways and no Nexus, that's where you're like, okay, I'm going to lose a lot of SCVs. This is going to be a dirty game.
Yeah. We're now having the factories begin to be produced. We have a Nexus being made. So far, Bisu just playing a very standard game. We do want to keep our eyes peeled. Oh, he's coming in for a second scout. Can he deny this? Oh! 10 HP. 10 HP. And that's actually a really good scout, because he has complete and total confirmation now that this is a normal game. Whoa.
Nothing too crazy going on. It was a good scout by Flash there, just making his factories at the moment, repairing that bunker. He's going to have to just continue repairing the bunker. And the thing is, he doesn't know what tech is coming yet.
That's right.
Like, if he's paid attention all to how Bisu likes to play in the last couple of months, he should be assuming, this is probably just safety. He's probably going into a robo and just going to get his economy rolling.
So there are moments, especially nowadays, where people will get a Reaver and try to Reaver drop the Terran. If the Terran's too greedy and trying to rush up to get all these factories and the main's not defended well, then you could be in a lot of trouble. However, if you get the Reaver and you don't do any damage, you can end up being a little bit behind as well. Probe transfer now going down to the second base. We do want to watch, when will Protoss take a third base? In a lot of the current meta, Protosses seem to want to stay on 2 bases for what would seem like an uncomfortably long period of time for back when Artosis and I would play. But they seem to make it work very well.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are very afraid of a heavy factory push coming out of Terran. Now, look, he's got 1 SCV right now, basically per Dragoon, making sure that he's repairing that. We're going to already have the 4 out, but the siege tank is out, so this should be basically held from here. He could take a bunch of damage, let's say, on this barracks, but this is just buying him time.
So there is a small possibility that he could have ran in there and dived on top of the tank. It's 8 shots from a Dragoon to kill 1 tank. So if you have 4, they just 2-shot the tank. But that's risky, because a player like Flash might micro that so perfectly. He'll draw in your army, you'll lose everything to the bunker, and then he'll have a lead and probably a stronger push coming up there. 4 factories now on the way here for Flash.
Yeah, getting that comm stat as well. So he's going to have a ton of information coming up about Bisu, who is taking a rather quick third base. kind of standard from the old days, and Bisu bringing that back right now. But will Bisu be able to hold on? Flash is going to do a very powerful push in the next few minutes.
So, Bisu right now going for some of the more traditional PBTs we've seen, getting that third base up, assuming that he can try to hold this off. It is cross spot, so this is a very long distance for Terran to travel. You want to have the Dragoons split up in a very proper manner so that Vultures can't dive in there and take out all your workers, because if you get out positioned as the Protoss and start to have probes get gunned down, the game can spiral out of control in a matter of seconds.
If you lose, and that's why he has all these pylon walls, if you lose too many probes against someone who knows how to macro, you're going to die.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty straightforward.
You need to keep that economy rolling, but Flash is moving out right now. He should be rallying up Vultures. He has enough siege tanks, enough Marines and SCVs here that he can put up a good fight against those Dragoons, but now what he needs is a speed rally. He needs speed in mines and just to send as many units as possible across the map.
We may see the Protoss try to dive on the Terran army, and the moment that they siege up, you run back. You want to try to slow down the push as much as possible. Flash is now in the middle of the map. I don't know if Bisu's in a great position here. He needs to get his Dragoons bunched up.
The Dragoon AI messing up a little bit right there. You guys are going to experience that soon when you get free Brood War. Just having a hard time getting through the wall, but he has got a micro perfectly coming up here. Has an observer, spotting it all coming in. Let's see how Bisu can take this fight.
Okay, the Dragoons are coming down now. Microing back here. He's planting mines to force the Dragoons to stutter step micro back. The observer in position to hit these mines if he needs to. No siege mode shown yet from Flash.
Yeah, not sieging up at all at the moment, just utilizing these mines to put some distance between the Dragoons and the siege tanks, still bruising them quite a bit. The Dragoons, a little bit of miss micro there by Bisu, losing quite a few, but he's starting to target some of them down as well.
Oh, that one tank is going, no, it does go down. I think that Bisu might have been a little bit too greedy with that third base.
Yeah, this could be bad for him indeed. He has that shuttle out now. The thing is, so many Vultures being rallied up. Look at that beautiful block on that Dragoon, forcing the mine into it, and now it's time for Flash to siege up.
Flash is in siege mode right here, right now. These Dragoons, it just doesn't seem like there's enough. He's beginning to push through. Mines now being planted out. Probes have been pulled to try to attack on top of those tanks. We see.
Oh man, more Vultures coming up as well, taking out these probes. Already Flash has done significant damage here.
Oh my God, I think he's gonna get bopped, man. This is just spilling through. There's not enough Dragoons. Now the Vultures breaching here. They can lay mines right in front of the gateways. There's no warp gate in Brood War, so that means they will be killed the moment they pop out of those gates. These probes are very vulnerable.
Oh, this is so tough right now for Bisu, losing way too much, and Vultures in his third base as well. I think we're going to be seeing a GG very shortly here.
I think you're right. These mines going off. Too many workers being hit here. Vultures now spilling through in every location. I just don't think that Bisu can hang on. He actually made one scout in a panic to try to just buy some time since there's no anti-air, but the scout does attack so rarely.
Yeah, it's a very slow unit for sure, and the Vultures have done enough damage that it does not even matter if you take out the siege tanks.
If you see a scout in a pro match, man, you make a wish. That is a rare thing to see.
It is indeed.
Here, and this is just not enough damage. Or not enough, excuse me, to defend here. There's no way that he can stop this much damage. The Vulture's spilling in. There's too many mines. The siege tank can't be covered, or can't be hit properly here by these Dragoons.
Now the only reason why we see Bisu just remaining in this game at the moment is he knows that the third command center is in no way going to be done for Flash yet. All of his money has gone into this attack, so if somehow he can clear it efficiently, maybe he can get something done, but as we see, these mines are just too good.
Yeah, the mines continuing to come down here. Keep in mind, Vultures are very cheap. The Dragoons much more costly, and that's going to do it. GG!
A superbly played game there by Flash. Bisu trying to take a quick third, trying to put pressure on, but nothing going his way.
Really nicely done. So for our finals then, it's going to be Stork versus Flash.
That's right, and Stork, he is a just great Protoss first Terran player, so I do think he's going to put up a good fight here against Flash. Maybe use some more modern builds compared to what Bisu did. Bisu has enjoyed this style recently of taking that quick third off of just like a gateway or two, but just it's so hard against the Fort Factory push.
Yeah, that was very well handled there by Flash. And it does really exhibit how strong vultures can be if you just get them in the right position. They're fast, they lay those mines. Each vulture, when you get the upgrade, has 3 spider mines. And the amount of damage that you can actually do with a spider mine is crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Spider-Mine has so much splash. You have to kill him. If you try to walk through him with Dragoons, you're just going to lose the game.
Yeah.
And we saw just Flash use them brilliantly as well, placing them in between the Siege tanks and the Dragoons. Not too many, but just enough that the Dragoons couldn't hit the Siege tanks easily. And thus, he didn't have to Siege. What you were saying is right. If you can make the Terran Siege and then run away a few times as he's coming across the map, suddenly you'll have enough units to hold on. But Flash didn't even Siege in his initial attack. He was just attack moving through, utilizing the spacing that Bisu has to show against the mines.
It was really nicely done because we see that the moment that the Dragoons were got far enough away, Flash would back up and try to bait the Dragoon shots onto the mines, and the tanks have very good range even when they're not sieged up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people look at StarCraft and look at the unit, the tank, and assume that like it has to be in siege mode to be a threat. That's not the case. It's very strong.
Single damage DPS is actually higher on an unsieged tank. So,
that's right.
I mean, obviously it's not as much a range, but
yeah,
it definitely can be useful like that by Flash. Just a really well done, well executed build.
We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, the finals of the Legend match.
Took my troubles down to Madame Ruth. You know that gypsy with the gold cap too. She's got a pet down at 30 for the mine, selling little bottles of love potion number 9. Love potion number 9. Love potion number 9. Love potion number 9.
그것은 실화인가? 저 보겸이 배치 고사 점수 468점. 그게 정말 가능한 일일까요? 우리는 조금 더 문제의 원인을 찾아봐야 했습니다.
보고 써야지, 보고 써야지. 눈을 뜨고 봐야지, 상대를. 보고 쓰고 있는 거야, 이게? 아니, 허공에다가 쓰지 말고. 무슨 문제 있으십니까? 좀 너무 충격적이고 너무 당황스러워가지고. 이거는 진짜 한 4세에서 5세 정도 수준이라 분명히 문제가 있지 않고선 저렇게 할 수가 없어요. 저 어디에 문제가 있을지 다시 한번 찾아보도록 하죠.
제가 쏘면은 반 박자 늦게 나가는 것 같은 그런 느낌이에요.
근데 이거 대단히 중요한 문제인데 이런 0.5초 늦게 반응한다고? 너 지금 인터넷 못 쓰고 있어.
저 그냥 일반 인터넷 쓰고 있죠.
일반 인터넷을 쓰면서 오빠
일반 인터넷.
일반 인터넷?
네.
KT 기가 인터넷을 써야지. 당장 전화해. 어때? KT 기가 인터넷을 바꾸니까 전화하지?
제가 이 정도로 잘 진짜 꿈에도 몰랐어요.
달라졌지?
네.
진작에 KT로 바꾸라고 얘기했잖아.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
오, 좋아. 아, 왜 이렇게 안 열려? 아, 왜 이렇게 느려? 다 나왔어? 여보세요?
여보세요? 오빠 그거 샀어요?
나 아직도 하고 있어.
오빠 KT 기가 인터넷을 써야죠. 이거 빨라가지고 나 금방 다 샀는데.
너 샀어?
아니 인터넷 뭐 쓰길래 그렇게 느려요? KT 기가 아니에요?
속도가 10배? 이거 왜 몰랐지? 역시 해외 직구도 KT.
All right, we are back here at the Legend Show match. We have Stork versus Flash. I gotta say, this is gonna be a tough one for Stork, but this guy, man, he's got the strats, he's got the builds.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he sees exactly what could be coming his way, which is that 4-factory push.
Can Stork pull an Arbiter out of his hat?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
This is going to be a best of 3, and of course, after this, we will have the GSL Codes Finals, because the world is fair, Artosis.
The world is fair.
Because the world is fair, after all.
This is the fairest the world has ever been or
That's
ever
right.
will be, is today I Love StarCraft Day.
Guys, tell your friends to join us here. We're going to continue to teach you some Brood War and show you the game that was the big bang of esports. It all started here.
Yes. I'm trying to make some sort of reference to light traveling at the speed of light away from it ever since, but
ever since the big bang of esports, StarCraft 1, things have been moving faster and faster.
Yes, they've been moving faster and faster. Even the meta has changed significantly.
That's right.
And that's why Bisu just died to a 4-fact push after a gasless expand from a Terran player. So, here we are in the finals. It's going to be a best of 3, not a best of 1. So don't get too excited if your favorite player is winning game 1, because he has to win 2 of them.
That's right. We're going to have to see what Stork has in store for us. I don't think that Flash is going to do anything that different from what he's been doing lately. In this matchup specifically, it just seems like you want to play just a standard game as Flash.
That is the Terran race, generally speaking. Yeah, there's a few cheeses here and there, but Terran cheese is not really that strong. It's more about just getting up to exactly what you want to have, mechanically well, you know, making sure that you're spending your money on time and defending against everything, and then moving out and being like, hey, my units are really good.
I got to say, by the way, the StarCraft Remastered looks really good.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen it yet.
No.
So I was really wondering, you know, what
Yeah, I was wondering what it would look like.
Yeah, I
overall.
just didn't know. I was
wondering. I'm like, well, which StarCraft's going to have the worst graphics, 1 or 2? I don't even know how that's going to look.
No, I thought they really cleaned it up. I'm really glad they're keeping the gameplay essentially the same.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people want they want the game to be like nannied more to like their taste. But you got to understand this is the hardest game ever made.
Yeah.
This is just it. You really don't want to mess with a game that's been around for this long.
Well, you can't if you patch anything balance-wise. That would just be like, I mean, I don't even know how to say it. The last balance patch was like in the year 2000 or something, and we had
I think it was 2001.
a thriving pro scene until StarCraft 2 ate it. So, like, I mean, don't change anything there. Okay, let's leave it how it is. It works fine.
You got to remember when you guys do start playing Brood War, understand that, yeah, it is. It's really hard.
So hard.
It's a really hard game, and it's not just going to be hard for you. It's going to be hard for your opponent.
Yeah.
You can actually take any of these pros, sit them down, and talk to them. They'll be like, "Oh no, it's still really hard for me to play." It's incredible. And then when you get the guys that are this good, you see them like bending the laws of physics within the game to get the the strats and the damage out that they're doing, and that just happened, guys. No.
Oh, they just keep doing it.
So
these red banners mean nothing.
They mean nothing here. No, but look, it's a really, really tough game, and
I wonder what that's doing there. I think I'll just walk around it and go in front of the camera. Oh my God. Yeah, when it's the hardest entry-level game in the world.
I think in some ways it's also the most rewarding game. Let's talk about another game that's been doing very well lately, Smash Brothers Melee.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
the game was never designed to do the stuff that people are doing with it. Same with Brood War. I mean, Blizzard's admitted this. Like, they didn't know the game was going to operate this fast.
And just like there's like input lags that are important, so you got to use your CRT monitor. Oh, my back hurts. I'm carrying a CRT monitor. Okay, like, you know, this is why it's important that they remaster Brood War with the original engine like still intact, basically, so you can do things like carrier micro.
A lot of that game was
micro.
really reliant on the engine. We're going to have a small delay here, guys, so we're going to be yapping a little bit longer up here. But look, if you, I don't really care who you are, what your background is, give it a shot when it comes out. It's a very fun game.
Yeah.
You know, when you finally get the rhythm down and you're just making your base operational, it just feels amazing.
Yeah, when you have a solid macro game in StarCraft 1, it is orgasmic how it feels. It's just like, wow. So that's what it's like to spend all my money and keep my SCVs mining and all this. It's a pretty great feeling because it is mechanically so tough, and it's like really out of all the games, all the esports, anything, the hardest to start when you don't have experience in it, because it's just to get anything. Like StarCraft 2 is such a hard game, but like you can start it and you can make units and you can get your stuff to mine and like get an army. It's not that easy in StarCraft 1.
Yeah, it's and again, if you like StarCraft 2 at all, there's
and that's
no
not
reason.
saying StarCraft 1's hard. I'm just saying entry level, it's like madness trying to get anything done.
And if you like StarCraft 2, there's no reason you wouldn't like StarCraft 1. I know that this is probably going to spark a bunch of gaming tribalism going on here about like this one or that one. Look, these games are so similar to each other. You should be able to love both of them.
Well, if you don't love both, I don't even know what you see in one of them. What can you see in one of them that you don't see in the other?
Yeah, no, seriously, it's going to be very exciting. And I think what we got to do for the scene is really just marry these two games together.
Yeah.
They're both great games. They're very, very similar, but they're different enough from each other that they both have these beautiful aspects that you can really appreciate.
It's like Tasis and Artosis.
That's right. Just like us.
It's like if you only like one of us, I'm like, really? Really? Nick is not that bad.
Well, so far we've had some interesting strategies here today. We've seen the attempted risky drone drill from Jaedong. Jaedong actually almost killing Stork, but then Stork holds on. Stork has more momentum going into that. Game number 2 with Flash and Bisu was a little bit more straightforward. You know, he went for that third base, and Flash is known for having very strong pushes at that phase of the game.
Yeah.
He just controlled his army very well. You really have to have the perfect Dragoon spread. You do ideally want to try to force Terran into sieging up, and then what Protoss does is they run back away, because when Protoss gets its economy rolling, you can get so many more Dragoons, you can eventually run over that army. And when Terran loses that many tanks early on, they don't have a lot of options later on in the game.
Yeah, if he had lost those tanks, like for instance, let's say that Bisu was just sitting there and he's like, okay, I'm guessing that you're about to move out with everything. And he brings all of his Dragon Flash's base. Then suddenly this becomes a lot harder for Flash. But if Flash had chosen to go for Vultures
and move
first
around him,
and just ran around the Dragoons, then suddenly Bisu loses the game. So he kind of takes the middle road there. He's standing kind of towards the center of the map, but it doesn't work out.
There is the God Emperor himself.
The Emperor
Slayer's
of Terran, not
Boxer.
the King of Terran, the Emperor.
Now listen, nerds, here's what you got to do. I want you to come down, bow down, and kiss the ring, okay? The godfather of esports.
The amount that he is important for esports to exist, I don't care what game you're from, just for the industry to exist, cannot be overstated. Like this guy, he won all the early tournaments and like was not only like the most well-spoken, most handsome player, but was winning the tournaments and then taking his prize money to fund the scene. Like in the beginning, there was no money in this out here.
You got to understand that like there's always been a stigma about gamers, right?
Yeah.
Being, I mean, we're obviously all nerds, but maybe not, having that many not good social skills, I guess. The Slayer's Boxer, when he was the best in the world, could go on all these TV shows out here in Korea, super charismatic, super funny, super self-deprecating. People loved him, and it really showed Korea and the rest of the world that, okay, there are a lot of gamers who are really with it, who are people that you can look up to, people that can inspire you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's done that for a huge generation in South Korea and some outside as well. Really great to have him here and saying some words on I Love StarCraft Day. Hope to see him return a little bit. Would like to see that. I mean, it's always fun when Boxer's in good shape in StarCraft 1. He's like, I know that there's a lot of TLO jokes about creativity, but like Boxer is like the original creative player. Like this guy came up with so many outrageous things.
Oh, he was really bending the laws of the game itself.
He's the amount of crazy stuff he's done. Like I don't even want to go down that memory path in my mind right now because I want to cast these next games. But like, I mean, he has really come up with a lot of new stuff. He pioneered so many of the early strategies as well.
So guys, it's time to start fostering StarCraft communities in your area. Start learning the game together. This game is not going to go away, okay? And a lot of the guys that we're seeing who are dominant, they weren't the very, very best right when the game came out, okay?
No.
There's still time for more people to rise to the top, and we're going to see, how long these guys that we have here, for instance, in the Legend match, staying on top, and what new people are going to be coming in as years pass onward.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of new players in Korea really grinding it out and trying to get better.
I want to see new people all over the world picking this game up.
That would be really exciting to see some players actually emerge. The StarCraft Foreigner scene had a lot of pros that put in a ton of time during StarCraft 1. And the thing is, we didn't have any prize money or anything like that, so it was hard to do. Well, but there was a good set of probably 40 to 50 players that were like hardcore every day, hours and hours of practice. And when StarCraft 2 came out, like 99% went to StarCraft 2. Like one guy stayed and a couple others like Cole is the only guy that actually stayed, I think. And it's crazy. I hope a lot of people come back. I hope there's a lot of new people rising up. Obviously, there's some good foreigners nowadays, but I hope that there can be more of that, Tasteless.
So we are moments away from starting our finals match. This is Flash versus Stork. Stork certainly the underdog here. I guess everybody's kind of the underdog when you're up against a player as good as Flash, but Stork is a very sneaky player. He could pull off a crazy upset, outmaneuver Flash, and come out on top. And I think really Stork was a person we had the lowest expectations for. So we're going to go on to another new map here. I'm really curious to see how exactly a Terran versus Protoss on this map is going to operate.
Neo Sniper Ridge, a lot of ridges here to be sure. So definitely going to have to play around with having your vision before you're going up there. But yeah, man, it is a 4-player map. We'll see where they end up spawning and what strategy Stork wants to go for, I think, is the most important aspect.
Yeah, I think that's really what we got to look for. I'm expecting Flash to probably just go for fast expand there and try to mass up and then do some pushes. But there are so many tricks that Protoss can pull off, and Stork having the best builds really in Brood War. This guy could definitely pull off something crazy.
All right, I can only imagine we are about to get this started. Tasteless, the finals of the Legend. Flash versus Stork.
All right, introducing our players. In the bottom left, the victor of the most recent ASL, he is Flash. And his opponent here in the bottom right, in the red, our Protoss player, StarCraft Brood War genius, Stork.
And Tassus does not use that term genius lightly. These guys, having risen all at similar times to be the greatest that we ever saw, and like having people basically just not pass them, it's crazy because they're like, and the thing is, other people come up win a championship and stuff, but the stability that these guys had for so many years as just being like the guys that you would watch, the guys that you expect to win everything.
And you know, there's
it's
really
wild.
no game with as much history as Brood War. There's been so many tournaments in Korea and outside of Korea. It's hard to find a game that really comes close. I guess the closest thing I could think of would be, Counter-Strike is probably the closest thing I could think of, because that game, of course, has gone through many iterations and continues to stay strong. But let's keep this in mind, guys, because there's this odd culture on the internet of games dying. I want to make this clear. Your game that you love never has to go away.
Yeah, it absolutely does
and
not.
Really, when you look at it, even though new games come out, there's only so many big esports titles or some games that are similar to them that have been moving through the ages.
StarCraft 2 is not going away. StarCraft 1 is not going away. We are in a great place right now, like especially with Remastered coming out this summer. I mean, it's wild. I've been told that this game was dying since 2001.
Oh yeah.
I can't bring that up enough. Like literally, and here I am living in Korea for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
Married with a child, more on the way, living completely off of casting StarCraft 1 and 2.
That's right.
And so, I mean, these games, man, life just keeps getting better.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. So definitely, guys, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. It's really hard. It's really rewarding, though. If it's hard for you, it's just as hard for your opponent. But there's just, so much information you can dive into to learn about this. So again, we're going to try to make this cast as accessible for you new guys as possible, for some of you young and nerds.
Yeah. I want to point something out if they show it again. There's actually a depot below the command center that fixes some of the patches and how it mines. This is some of the beauty of StarCraft 1 is...
even where that pylon is located, next to the, just below the gas, the workers don't always move in a straight line, so you can set up structures in a certain way to have them mine more efficient. See the depot right down there?
Some of the patches are far away on the bottom from the command center, and so the SCVs kind of come out in a funny angle and then turn and go to the command center. By putting that depot exactly there, nowhere else, if he puts it anywhere else, it either makes it worse or it doesn't help at all. Right there speeds up the mining. And this is something for every spot on every map with every race you have to check.
Yeah, there's so much to the positioning of every structure in the game. There's so many secrets buried inside of the game that people keep figuring out, unlocking, discovering. And you could spend all day just learning how to position in a certain matchup things in your own base.
Yeah.
And the order to do that and how to do that effectively. So the more you invest into the game and learn about the game, the more you will end up being rewarded for with that. So we have the scouting SCV coming down here. Now, Stork went for a pretty standard fast expand build, and we knew he was going to do that because he only had one probe and gas for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the second gateway warping in over there. So you can't really tell that much as the Terran from this, other than it doesn't look like anything dangerous is headed your way early on.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more economic than what Bisu was up to, but Flash, he's just getting his upgrade here in the factory, playing a very safe opener on this map, not going for that quick barracks into expand.
Yeah, he's actually got a small number of Marines at his ramp, and he's just racing up towards getting a tank. And he is getting that command center here, but this is actually quite different from the build we saw Flash use to beat Bisu here.
Yeah.
It may look somewhat similar, but it makes a huge difference, the order in which you get this stuff out, especially because you start out with such a small number of workers.
Yeah, like he'll have more of these early siege tanks out that kind of make him safer in a way, but he won't, for instance, be able to go into just like a 4-factory almost free win against a third base or something, because of course his economy is getting online a little bit later.
So I want to make it clear to our audience, because this might look funny, there's actually a high ground down in the low ground.
Yeah.
That's like a little ridge so you can't see over that, so it makes it tricky for these Dragoons to try to engage. Terran is occupying the top of that, but he's going to come in from the side here. Now, he did see that mine planted.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to try it. This is really hard to do. Okay, he was going to try to draw that out. This is like one of the hardest things early on to do with Protoss, and it's super, super risky. Okay, one Vulture does get around. Now, this one still has one Spider Mine. Looks like it's going to go northbound and just stay out of range from taking too much damage. Flash is starting to fork these Vultures out throughout the map to see if he can't possibly get around and get a scout off over here.
Yeah, and he just wants mines down anywhere he can have them. Sick mine hit right there. Ton of damage.
That took out about half of the Dragoon's health, and that's a pretty big deal early on in a Protoss versus Terran. You can definitely end up losing a fight later on if some of those Dragoons are bruised.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, you do not want your Dragoons to take too much damage early on. It was kind of impressive to see Stork, even when the Marines and tank were there trying to lure out a mine. Of course, when you utilize your Dragoons like that, if you walk forward a little bit and walk back and shoot, you can drag mines up and they stall before going forward for just a moment. And sometimes you can shoot them with Dragoons if you're really, really good. And Stork is so really good, Tasteless.
He's so really good.
Tasteless. Oh. I can only moan when I describe just how strong Stork is at this matchup.
Oh, man. Well, we have the Observatory on the way. This is a staple tech for the Protoss versus Terran matchup because the map can be littered with spider mines that can have devastating effects on your army. You need to get observers out. You want to make sure you can clean up those mines because if the mines remain on the map, Terran can end up setting up a push very easily. So you got to be on top of that. Now, the Observer, just like in StarCraft 2, it's a slow unit, very slow.
Yeah.
It's very weak. It doesn't have a lot of vision range.
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful as you move it around the map. Losing an observer early on is huge.
Yeah.
And you do want to watch a lot of times to see how many observers do they actually get because it's a lot of gas. And of course, there's an inevitable arbiter tech. It's also possible they'll go for carriers. I don't think we're going to see that just based on the way this map looks.
Yeah, it doesn't look like carrier.
You eventually have to get arbiters and start using stasis and recall to abuse the Terran because a mech army in super late game is just too strong.
Yeah.
Protoss can't really fight it head to head.
Okay, so he is going up to 2-base Arbiter right now, whereas Flash has gone into a very fast 3rd base. He's holding that high ground type of area, has those mines in front, has a turret. That Observer goes too far, as Stasis was saying, it can be taken out, but he sees it in time. Now, I'm kind of liking where Flash is at. He's taken absolutely 0 damage. He's been allowed to take such a fast 3rd base. We'll see if Stork can get something done, but until he has his Arbiters out, his army is a little bit weak.
As you can see here, the Dragoons are going to try to maneuver around here. I'm not clear on if the tanks are in range. It looks like they can hit from there. Oh! He might have been going for the bug there. There's a trick where you can actually get the Observer and put that on top of the turret right as it finishes, and the turret can't quite attack right away.
Yeah, like you can actually...
Can't you spam S, like stop on the turret and it makes it attack?
It doesn't always work, though.
Okay.
So, like, you can bug out turrets. And, like, if you're basically floating exactly above them, before they finish, and then they finish and they can't shoot, and it's really funny. And sometimes you can, as Tasus was saying, like kind of spam, and eventually a missile will come out and it'll take like 10 seconds to hit the Observer, but
it spins around.
it definitely can be very annoying. Unfortunately, Stork messes that up a bit, loses his Observer, but he's taking the 3rd base. He's going into his Arbiter tech as well.
So we want to see when and where he uses the Arbiters. When the Arbiters come out, again, if you're not familiar with Broodor, we are trying to make this a cast that you can be part of. The Arbiter is a big-ass flying unit that will completely cloak your army underneath it. Terran have to rely on scans early on to detect what's under it, or they have to get a science vessel. The Arbiter does not just cloak your units, it also can recall your army, which is very strong against a Terran army that's got a bunch of siege tanks set up, because if you get in the right position, you can destroy their main before they can get back there to help out. They also have stasis, which you can use on your enemy. You can technically use it on your own units as well. Anything that's in the stasis cannot move, cannot be attacked.
Yeah, that's something that's very tough for Terran to deal with if you hit those stasis just right. It's the longest lasting spell in the game by like 12 minutes. Like, it's such a long spell that we even see pros mess up and lose count of when it's going to end. So definitely can be powerful, but recall is going to be probably the early game choice here from Stork. If he can get a big recall off, like if Flash is starting to think about moving out, then that can slow everything down and let Stork get a big tempo advantage.
Now, keep in mind, there is, and this is more, it's harder, it's very, very hard to pull off, but you can recall your army into the Terran's base, then run some of your Dragoons and Zealots to their ramp and stasis that, and you basically just wipe their main out. It's a super devastating blow, but generally speaking, Terrans are pretty prepared for it. They lay spider mines in their main, so when the recall happens, they hit everything. Oh, this is actually huge. This is bad. That's a lot of workers. You can really see how devastating Vultures are. This is pretty much going to get every single probe.
That is such a big Vulture run by. The most important thing that's happened in this game so far by miles. Even has some mines awaiting. A Sacrificial Dragoon trying to clear some of them out while he goes around to kill off these Vultures, but this is a huge problem right now for Stork, losing that many probes.
Yeah, he's coming down here now with these Dragoons. It doesn't seem like Stork was entirely on top of where he needed to be. More Vultures are going to be sent out here. Oh, wow, even hitting some probes back there.
The economy of Stork has really been crippled a bit here.
Absolutely, it has been. Now, keep in mind, Stork does have the upper right side of the map. That's very hard for Terran to push. Now, the Factory Explosion is really kicking in. He's going to have the +2 attack, +1 upgrades here for his mech army. When he's at +2, +1 for mech, he will probably push. This is really where it's hard for Protoss to deal with.
Yeah, mech upgrades scale much better than Protoss upgrades. So the higher you get as far as those upgrades go, the more powerful the Terran army is in comparison. But Stork has to use maneuverability. He has Nexus up in the top right. Hopefully he'll start making some gateways around the map so he has flanking armies available. And of course, with that recall, his army can just suddenly appear somewhere else. The thing is getting in. Flash is going to be ready for this pretty soon.
All right, the Dragoons are continuing to move around the map here. This push is going to be inbound very soon. Now, he does have one dropship. Sometimes you see them skip the dropship to try to get some more science vessels, and he's going to lay some mines, hoping that when the army comes down here. Now, workers do not trigger the mines. That's important to say. But this is going to be something that's a little bit difficult to deal with here.
Siege Shank in the main base, trying to take out as many probes as possible. The Arbiter coming over, cloaking said probes, so that's dealt with reasonably well. But these units don't really mean a lot to Flash. Look at this, he's got that +1 upgrade only right now. He's still macroing. He's just trying to do some light harass while he gets up to a massively upgraded army.
Wait, whoa. We just got the tail end of that. I believe that mine actually did sit set off there by a Zealot. That actually hit a lot of probes.
Yeah, that's a really big deal if so. Look at the siege chain count continue to grow right now. Those are the important units. You can lose quite a few Vultures in Terran versus Protoss. They only cost 75 minerals. They build real fast.
He's going for a recall. We need to have EMP fired on the Arbiter. He doesn't look like he has EMP done researching. The Arbiter is moving in here, and will he do the recall?
You would think so. Here he goes, all the way up to the command center and supply depots. A big recall is at another Arbiter even coming in.
That's right.
Tanks being spread and siege right now while Vultures come up to help.
Okay, he needs to push forward or decide to pull back to the bottom right. There are some Vultures coming up here trying to harass that expansion. It seems that Flash has handled this very well so far.
Yeah, he's really pushed it back very quickly. Hasn't lost that many units or even like supply depots. It was right on top of those. Hasn't lost too many SCVs. Not the most effective move here by Stork.
Yeah, he may have wanted to recall on top of the factories versus recalling just right on top of where the scanner was.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
as the tanks came out, he sieged them up. He seemed to deal with it pretty handedly.
Normally people do that, but maybe he was thinking, because he flew right past him, he could have been thinking something to the effect of, oh, there could be spider mines there already. If you recall on top of a field of spider mines,
then the game,
it's almost done.
Yeah, then you lose your army and the Terran counter pushes you. And so he's going to be relying on a lot more recalls. Now, something that we've seen that's quite strong is you can actually use that hallucination ability. The Templar has it. Make fake Arbiters, send them in, try to bait out their EMPs there, and then send the real Arbiters in later on for the actual EMPs. And it can be very devastating for the Terran.
Yeah, it's a great way to play, and sometimes you see High Templars recalled as well. If you do a recall near someone's ramp and they're trying to get up all clumped up and you side storm it, we've seen games won and lost on that countless times in StarCraft 1.
So Flash is playing a very conservative game here. He's staying back. He is going to try to sneak and take the main in the upper left. Right now, Stork kind of looking for an opening here. This game has been a fairly slow-paced, very careful game by both sides. You know, these guys are both eager to win this.
EMP should be done about now. He's making a huge turret wall. This gets found, so that's actually a very good moment for Stork that he can cancel out this fourth base.
as you can see, the Vulture's now splitting up. He's continuing to upgrade at the Science Vessel. He may be getting energy there as well. And now the Protoss army is out here. Where will Terran push? And will he wait for the recall to come in and then push later? Now, the big scary component of the Terran's army is the tanks. If we see Protoss take a good fight, hold up, recall right over here in this expansion.
A bunch of Zealots coming out, a lot of Vultures coming up immediately, a Science Vessel as well. It looks like this won't end up doing that much damage for Stork, but it wasn't the most expensive recall either.
Yeah, he shut that down pretty easily. Right now, Flash is just kind of impenetrable here in this game.
Yeah.
There's really no way that he can crack a dent in his opponent.
Before the Terran moves out, like, it's almost impossible to break him. The defensive advantage of siege tanks, turrets, and mines is undeniable.
Okay, here we go.
It's when they move out that you got to make your move as Stork, and hopefully those recalls, despite the fact they didn't do a lot of damage, held him back long enough that Stork is ready.
Okay, he's going to try going for it. Is Stork going to commit? He's coming in now. We have Stasis there on top of that one Science Vessel and those tanks. The shuttle coming in here to try to draw the splash damage here on top of those tanks as well.
Okay, the Zealots are gone, or almost gone. Oh, more coming in. Stork's macro out of control right now. As long as he has Zealots, he can continue this.
Oh my God, he might actually pull it off. This attack is going very well. There's not enough Vultures really here to combat this. If he can get on top of one of those mines and drag those mines on top of the tanks, that'd be huge. But the push lane here for Flash looks too strong. Will this actually end up taking him out? I think it might. I think Flash may be too strong.
It is a possibility, but I gotta tell you, I like that fight for Stork overall. He erased a huge amount of siege tanks.
Yeah.
That was the bulk of Flash's army. Now, of course, Flash is going to bring in, oh my, did he just actually stasis again?
Yeah, he did. He went for another stasis.
Awesome. That's giving him enough time for another few rounds. He's going to be maxed out when this push comes.
And what's so smart about this is it forces the Terran to be completely reliant on scans. That's really tough. You got to remember how many control groups this guy has. Where is Hockey's binded and 2-1?
Yeah.
And any little hit he can get on these tanks. By the way, the Arbiter does have an attack. We a lot of times don't mention that. It's not very much damage. I think it's the same damage as a probe, only it hits slower.
it's tiny how much this does. You almost wish it didn't have an attack so it wouldn't get targeted. But look, Stork has done a very good job here. He's eliminated a lot of siege tanks. Those Zealot bombs drawing in that splash damage.
It looks like he wants to do another stasis. Oh, he actually had some stasis in the Goliath. That was a pretty bad stasis there.
He really wanted to get both of those Goliaths so he could keep picking on siege tanks. Not quite able to do so. But Stork has a pretty big army. He's buying a ton of time.
Okay, he's coming in here. He's trying to stasis as many of the Science Vessels as possible. But every Arbiter he loses is huge. You cannot afford to lose that many. Now we see him regrouping. Some of the Vultures, though, splitting off here. He's going to hit these very vulnerable locations. The rest of the Protoss army can't really get up here and try to defend.
Yeah, he's going to be able to kill off that Nexus. Stork not even going to run up there right now. If he brought too many of his units up, he'd fail in this next fight. But here we go, Stork running forward. Some mines starting to connect here. With the shuttle going forward, there's only a single Goliath outside of stasis, and the Zealot bombs are huge.
He's coming in here. Great stasis down there at the bottom. That might be the stasis he actually needed. Defensive matrix down here on that one tank, but Protoss continues to spill forward. We need these siege tanks in the back to siege up. He has to hold this line of defense.
This is getting a little bit dirty. You got to have Zealots in there. Dragoons being plastered in a matter of seconds. Here finally come the next round of Zealots. Great defense matrix, buying time to clean this up, and Flash will hold once again.
I think that Stork is just hemorrhaging too many units here. With the Vultures now being spread out on the map, he can continuously dismantle all of these expansions and eventually push into the main, into the heart of the Protoss's base.
Uh-oh, with that pylon about to go down as well, Stork gonna have a tough time losing this many probes. He's not mining really that much. Flash is on 4 bases as well. So to lose any economy at this point is just putting Stork further down the hole.
Yeah, again, this push is getting closer and closer. Stork just does not seem to be able to hold it. And especially with Flash having control of that high ground, that ridge in the center, lower part of the map, I don't know what he can do. I'm really wondering if Stork just brought this game into the wrong direction, and now he can't climb back out of this hole he's in.
Look, 2 failed recalls was tough. He had one good fight in the center, but that last one we saw, he lost countless Dragoons trying to kill siege tanks on high ground. just was not the right move for him. So
we also never saw a big gateway explosion in the main in the upper right. That's really essential if you're going to try to win this. But hold up, Stork is attacking it again.
Yeah, the Zealot's trying to get on top of everything. A nice stasis goes down, but there's so few units left over underneath.
Yeah, if you look at the upgrades right now, it's +2 attack. It's just not enough for the Protoss. GG! Flash eventually dries up the economy here for Stork, and there was no way to recover. If Flash wins one more game, he's going to be the champion of the Legend Show match.
Yeah, I tell you, Stork played pretty well in a lot of ways, but finding his way in with the Vultures to kill that economy, blocking the attacks of Stork over and over. Like, Flash never even had to move forward to kill him. He just moved forward to the center, took a 4th base, and Stork knew with all his gateways in that bottom right, he had to break him.
Normally you see a lot of gateways made in the second main that's acquired. That makes it almost impossible for Terran to successfully push in.
Yeah.
You can always flank them, you can always surround them, and flanking a Terran army and getting good angles of attack is key to winning.
Yeah.
You're basically not going to beat a mech army head-to-head in late game. You got to start having units spilling out from too many locations, and that clunky mech army generally can't keep up.
You got to whittle them down over time, and Stork just wasn't able to do that in this game. The recalls were rough as well, so we're just going to have to see, I mean, if he can go into game number 2 and put up a bit of a better fight.
Yeah, let's see what he's got here. I really would prefer to see, from Stork, something a little bit more risky, maybe some proxies, maybe some crazier tech, because he went for a very standard PvT, and I just feel like you're playing into Flash's advantage.
Yeah, well, Flash versus Stork. Game 2 going to be coming up pretty shortly here, I think.
That's right.
And, I mean, Flash is just, he's looking like Flash, right? It's like whatever you do, it doesn't work. The recalls didn't work. He got some good Zealot bombs off. Okay, those were nice, but Flash just marches forward. He continues to upgrade, he continues to macro, and it looks impossible to beat.
I don't think that you can play a standard game versus Flash in this situation. I think Stork's macro is really good. I like the idea of what he was trying to do back there, but that's how Flash wins the majority of his games. He has good recall denial. If you notice, he just seems to have his army set up to where the Protoss is no longer dismantling the Terran, but in fact feeding into it.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let's go to game number 2. This is Stork versus Flash, a fight to become the champion of the Legend Show match here at Africa TV. In the upper right, winning game number 1. Many say he is the best StarCraft player currently in the world. It's Flash. And his opponent here in the bottom right, one of the greatest Protosses of all time. He needs to win this game and the next if he's going to be our winner. He's Stork.
All right, Outsider is the map. Of course, a lot of ways to try to abuse your opponent via drops and air-type units. Air units not used as much in this matchup, especially in the early game. So definitely could see some drop players, some Vultures trying to run by, some glitching of probes or SCVs over mineral patches.
So there is an alternative tech that we can see from Protosses. It just depends on the map and if the Protoss feels like, in a sense, he or she can get away with it.
Yeah.
And that's the carrier tech.
Yeah.
And on some of the maps that we've had more recently, carriers are not quite as strong because if the Terran responds correctly, they just get it up Goliath and the carriers can't really engage anywhere, and the Protoss gets in a funny spot where they box themselves in. But if you can catch the Terran player off guard and get a few carriers and surprise them, because, I mean, Goliaths are not bad units, but you basically mostly want tanks and Vultures. If you can catch the Terran off guard, you can wipe out their entire army and force them into a huge turtled position, and it's very tough to recover from that.
And if you're turtling heavily against carriers, you'll eventually lose because carriers become so cost efficient over time. Like, once you have 4+, every +1 upgrade gives you a +8 attack. You know, every time that you're swooping in, you're sniping units off, they just deal damage at a ludicrous speed. And to be frank, Stork is actually a carrier Protoss, not an Arbiter Protoss. And every
That's
Protoss has one or the other that they're kind of more known for, that they prefer if the possibility rises for both. And this is a good map for carriers. It really is. There's so many ledges that you can hide over, so I would like to see him go for that.
So generally speaking, an overall arching rule here is that you can basically win with Arbiters on any map. You can't win with carriers on any map unless you really catch them off guard. Now, there's some maps where it's just more tempting to go for carriers than others. And what you're really looking for is you want to have like a lot of valleys and ridges and ledges where the carriers can hit locations and then retreat over to safety.
Exactly.
Because the carriers have this incredibly abusive range. Now, will we see a carrier tech this time around? I don't know. One of the problems with going carriers in general is that if Terran can identify when, especially when and where, you're getting those carriers, there's a window where they could do a timing push and probably crush you.
Yes.
Where your ground army is just inferior. And the carriers, they don't really become powerful until you have about 4 of them.
Yeah.
Two of them doesn't really do enough.
2 carriers is kind of poking at the Terran army. Like, yeah, it does some damage, but when you have 4, like if you have 4 and they don't have Goliaths, okay, you can win that game pretty easily.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you need to be able to get to 4 before you're hemorrhaging off units trying to slow the Terran down. So that's going to be a lot of the things that Stork is thinking of going forward if he has carriers on the mind.
Now, meanwhile, we have Flash taking his first expansion here. Now, we don't know exactly what Stork's doing. We're still waiting. It looks like he's probably going to be getting a Robo next year. That doesn't mean he's going to go right into Observers. We could see Reaver drops and things like that. I think especially on a map where the expansion for the Terran here is so far away from the main, you can get really abusive with drops.
Sure you could. And, of course, you know, there's no gas there, so it's like hard for him to go into something like Goliath tech at this point anyways. You're going to want to really stay heavy on Vultures.
Oh, wow, he's doing a really good job here. If he can just get rid of this SCV and keep the pressure on, this could be huge. Now, on this map specifically, there's what we call an elevator push you can do. If you do go for Reavers, for instance, you then shuttle basically all your Dragoons into the area in between the second base and the first base, and then you just rush in. But I don't know if we're going to do this. We're going to see that, this time around. But it can be very strong.
Now look at this, an Academy coming up. This is a very tricky move by
sick!
Flash.
Okay, hold on. I got to talk about this. You can actually force a worker through the minerals if you make a probe there, or a pylon there, and you can just slide it through. And this is a good way to scout. And let's see if he's going to do it this time. He's basically just checking here to see what exactly Terran's up to.
Well, what he's not going to see so far is the fact that there's an Academy coming up. Now, because this is an extra mineral map, we might see him go into some bio play with his siege tanks. That is a possibility here. There's no gas that he's mining from at that back expand. But it looks like actually a starport coming up right away. This is kind of cool from Flash. Wants to abuse drops a bit.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let's see how this goes. He is basically safe. Pretty cool strat there by Stork to try to get in there and check and see, like, okay, how fast did he actually expand here?
Yeah.
Because when you see that expand, then you kind of know what the tempo of the rest of the game should be. You know, as long as you don't lose any massive amounts of units, you can kind of navigate that ship.
Well, he's adding on right now a couple more gates as well as that Robo, so he'll have the Observers out. But this is going to be a very quick drop with siege tanks on the ledge to try to eliminate the Nexus. If Stork doesn't have anything there ready for it, it can just be a brutal one indeed on this map. But Stork has his Robo on the way, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue.
So siege tank drops are actually a very old part of StarCraft. They were really especially popularized by Slayer's Boxer, who just started to outmaneuver his opponents and take out probes, and it was just really tough to keep up with. So let's see how it goes this time around. Vulture drops are, of course, also a big problem, and something that's very difficult to deal with.
Okay, making that drop ship right now. Stork going around the map once again, jumping through with those pylons, pushing his probe over. That's the funny thing about Protoss. They can do it with just one. You have Zerg or Terran, you got to send 2 to glitch them with each other.
That's right. This is legal in tournaments because it actually adds a lot more depth into the game.
Yeah.
When you have, for instance, only the specific unit
scout.
that's very weak. Oh my God, that's so
crazy.
Good. He knows.
Yeah, that's like so important to know if there's a Stargate, or a starport rather. Oh man. Now he knows that there can be Vultures dropped into his base. He knows that siege tanks can go on the ledge. there's like a lot of different things you can do, especially on outsider as Terran in this position.
Okay, now he has to have his Dragoons set up perfectly. Drops like this can act as a double-edged sword, because if you end up losing the drop ship with everything in it, then Terran is so behind, it's insane.
To get a dropship this early, you do have to get some sort of damage done. A couple vultures in there. Probably the last unit is a siege tank, if I had to guess. Let's see, he's actually going, he's going towards a back natural.
It's either 4 vultures or 2 vultures in a tank.
Yeah. But this, like, okay, maybe he thought there could be a next spec there. There's not. Stork took the front base with the gas. So he's going to figure that out. See where he goes next.
Now, as the observer comes in here, he's just checking to see how many factories there are. Dropship now headed southbound. It might be, it goes over the spotter pylon. It's very good for Protoss to have pylons spread out on the map, because if you could basically mark where the Terran's moving, you can usually shut down any aggression they might have be throwing at you.
Okay, a couple vultures coming out right now with that speed upgrade. Gonna rocket into the main base. Uh-oh, if there's nothing here, they can kill a huge amount of probes before anything can get back.
He's laying down some spider mines right here. There are some Dragoons, though, in the main to try to combat this.
That's still going to get a lot of damage done with these vultures, so they just kill probes so quickly. 4 or 5 probes going down for the low cost of a couple vultures. But so far, Stork is holding on well.
Yeah, luckily for Flash, he did manage to get that drop ship out of that location. You really cannot afford to lose those drop ships, as the momentum that Terran ends up losing is just way too much.
Yeah, he's got to get some more damage done here as well. He needs to keep him busy. He's spent so much gas on getting these drop ships out with only 1 geyser that he just doesn't have a huge amount of siege tanks. So if he doesn't do some significant damage, he has to bring the game a lot longer while he gets his upgrades and builds on that siege tank count.
Okay, as we can see here, vultures are now being unloaded right over here. He's going to try to come in once again. Are there Dragoons over here to the right? It looks like there are. And a cannon here. I'm not sure if he's going to get enough worker kills with this.
No, it doesn't look like it, but he gets a great scout off. He sees that Arbiter Tech is around the corner. That is the next thing that Stork will be going for.
So no carriers, at least in sight, down the road here. For our Protoss player, he's going to go the traditional route and try to get Arbiters. Flash doing a much more harass-oriented style of play, much more active than he was in game number 1.
Definitely this harassment style is not something that Flash is particularly known for, but it's a good choice for this type of map. Stork has taken this back natural now that is just minerals, so definitely going to see a lot more Zealots added into his composition. But will he block all the rest of the damage here from Flash?
If you note, we have Stork actually out on the map. He's pretty confident that he can try to stop a push coming in here. That's a very good spread. Super important that you get your army in a nice arc, because they do tend to clump up initially, and you can have some very bad engages with that. But with these vultures actually going around and 2 dropships, which may be holding tanks here, I think Flash could set up a really strong push where there's just nothing that Stork can do to stop this. I mean, this is going to be a really abusive spot to try to hit from down here.
Yeah, he's got 4 Dragoons set up to try to stop something like this, but offloading 4 tanks. 4 tanks beat 4 Dragoons, and he's going to go back for vultures.
Okay, he's going to be unloading over here. This damage is just going to be too much. These Dragoons going to have to pull back.
Just barely keeps that second one alive. 2 more shuttles coming down full of units, but with 8 vultures, man, this is such a strong push for Flash.
Yeah, this is really tough to deal with. He probably will not even siege up here. And the thing is, yeah, there's just not enough shuttles to ferry over that many units. He's now sieging up to hit this tank. This means that Stork has to deal with this right away, or he's not going to be able to use this base, and Flash is going to get more and more ahead.
Man, Flash hasn't taken an ounce of damage so far this game, and Stork just going to build a new Nexus. Wow, a ton of spider mines above that as well. So this is becoming dirtier and dirtier for Stork.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I mean, I guess that's the best option out of all the bad choices he could make.
Yeah.
Is to sack that expansion and try to re-expand again. But Flash certainly with a lot more momentum going on for him here. Oh, he's got to be careful.
Oh, running into quite a few of these. Does pick some of them off before connecting, so that's nice. But Stork doesn't have anything going for him right now. He's trying to take some sort of map control over. Does have that speed on the Zealots.
Wow, that was a good drag.
Yeah. Cleans quite a few there, but Okay, some counter harassment coming in from Stork finally here at this back natural.
Yeah, 2 Zealots and 3 Dragoons. This is definitely something that's going to be tough to deal with. Meanwhile, a push over here, over at the front. Let's see if he has enough. Right now, I think Flash may be spread too thin.
Look at this. He might be tasteless. He picks up everything into the 2 shuttles again. If he brings us back to the front, there's a possibility he can do damage up there as well. Trying to force some Siege Shakes moving to the back, though. Just continuing to have some map control, as well as poking that expansion of Flash.
Okay, we have some tanks unloading here. This is a very abusive position. If he gets that up in siege mode and the shuttles aren't there to help defend, he can rain down so much damage.
Yeah, that is the initial move I thought he might try here against Stork. We'll see what it gets done now. There is a shuttle nearby. Siege Tanks trying to pick off a few probes as they walk around, but with the Arbiter out and some Zealots being dropped on top, he'll clean up this little attack.
Look at this, he's unloading the Vultures up here, but I think Stork's got a really good angle. Now keep in mind, you have a chance to miss when you're firing up on the high ground in Brood War. It's not like StarCraft 2 where if you see and you have vision, it'll connect perfectly. So high ground advantage can be quite huge. Oh, and he gets the dropship as well. A great play, I gotta say.
Wow.
Stork, since that drop that happened down there where he lost that base at the bottom, he's really handling this game nicely.
Yeah, he's recovering very, very well. To kill the dropships, you don't want to be making dropships right now. You want to be making science vessels. So he might not even get harassed anymore, aside from moves like this with Vultures running by.
More Vultures coming down here, doing so much damage to these probes here. And again, these are the small little bits of damage that can add up to a big loss later on for Stork if he can't stabilize.
Okay, finally he's mined through this area, sending his units through, trying to kill off as many of the harassment units of Stork as possible. Of course, the shuttles are pretty far away, so he'll be able to take that out and take this top left base, which is going to be really hard for Stork to attack. You know, the one thing, though, is let's not forget, he has Arbiters out. If he does, like, a recall to the top left, that is so out of the way for Flash to get to, it doesn't, like, Flash may as well counterattack, because to get up there and clear it out is not even worth it.
This is a really interesting map because the more bases get mined out, the more avenues get opened up, and that can make for some crazy attacks. So I think that's something Protoss is definitely going to like. A little bit less common to see a style like this, but it makes sense on this map because so many parts of this map can kind of be sectioned off as islands. He's going to come in with these 3 shuttles, but fortunately for Flash, he was already prepared for something like this with these turrets in place.
All right, moving through the center of the map right now. Some damage being dealt to those Dragoons, but Flash is taking a lot of bases. Where does Stork hit? Because there's no way that Flash can hold on everywhere. Like,
yeah, I think you're right.
If Stork brings all of his forces to bear somewhere, that place should die.
It's going to be pretty tough here for Flash. Despite how well he's playing, I think, Artosis, you're completely correct. The longer you're in this game, it seems like there's so many areas that Protoss can exploit and try to hit.
Yeah.
If you know, your main damage dealer are siege tanks in siege mode, it's going to be pretty tough to handle. Is he going to recall in over here? No, he's going to actually recall up here. And this base in the upper left is not going to have anywhere to defend itself.
Okay, loses that Arbiter, so that's at least good for Flash. But look at what I was talking about. Look how far he has to walk, even lifting off buildings to get this all through. There's only a couple siege tanks over here in the top left base for Flash. So he's going to, like, try to pancake this army of Stork, but like, Stork is doing anything he wants out on the map during all this.
I got to point out here, you can only have 12 units in a control group, so trying to move a giant army around for Terran is much harder than it looks. You can see he's scrambling back here to try to buy back this expansion that's taking so much damage, but it looks like so many of these SCVs are going to be taken out in the process.
Yeah, and with the Vultures leading the charge down here, being so much faster than tanks, he picks off a ton of them with these Dragoons, just being as efficient as he possibly can. Flash continuing to rally his units over here to clear this out, but the damage has been dealt.
Meanwhile, another push coming up here. He might try to hit that upper center location that Flash has secured. Again, with most of the tanks dragged back into the upper left corner, they might not be able to get over here and defend this expansion in time.
Here we go, another big push through the center by Stork, even utilizing some Archons at this point. But it looks like there's a good enough spread here from Flash that at least the front of his base can't be attacked right now.
Okay, with those Templars, Storm can be huge here. Let's see if he manages to pull off any good storms. There it is, hitting that tank and those Vultures. Very nicely done.
Okay, Vulture's coming out, trying to pick off anything he can. There's not that many Dragoons, so the Vultures have a lot of power. Sciences are coming through. Oh, an EMP gets off, but it gets picked off as well.
So he's going to be able to hit this base. I think Flash may be falling apart, Artosis. Stork is just in too many locations at once.
Well, this is what happens. You send your whole army to the top left, and then it has to walk all the way back to defend against a frontal push, and Stork is abusing that beautifully.
The tank's now pushing forward. It looks like just barely Flash will reclaim that, but there's another push coming up here from the south towards the north to hit this location, and that may be the one that takes that expansion out.
A lot of Vultures moving through the center right now. Stork trying to chase him down. He doesn't want to take any more economic damage. He's got a solid economy at the moment and does have some photon cannons on those fringe bases. So hopefully that should be able to hold on for him.
Meanwhile, a drop over here. Flash trying to give Stork a taste of his own medicine, planting mines to that ramp and getting these siege tanks sieged up over here where they can hit the Nexus and deny probes from mining in the process.
Stork should be able to at least save this base for the time being, but more Vultures are coming down and those probes are retreating. They might be able to catch something here. No, looks like they'll just stop, lay some mines. Not able to do too much at the moment. Flash trying to keep Stork busy, though, because, again, Flash has two fringe bases that are really far away.
Really nicely done. He's going to take out both those tanks. He should be able to reclaim ownership of that base very easily. Meanwhile, you can see Stork itching to try to come up here and break through the top. I will say, though, it does seem like Flash is kind of restabilized here.
Yeah.
For all the damage that was dealt there by Stork, Flash has basically reclaimed all these locations, is mining very efficiently. I think the next big question is where on earth could Flash expand to next? Because Protoss can still easily acquire the very bottom left.
I would say that Flash absolutely has enough bases right now. He mined one out already, and it still has like 5 more. So I think here you're gearing up for a huge attack. If Stork commits too many units to one of his fringe bases, that's where Flash moves out.
All right, he's moving in right now. Stasis there on the tanks, but still more siege tanks in the back. The Vulture's in a good position, and Stork bounces off of Flash's army.
All right, pulls back into the middle for the time being. Where does Stork strike next? Flash is getting a really big army at the moment. It does have another dropship in the equation. Oh, this is a fantastic Vulture drop.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull all these probes out of here, which means he's not going to be mining from that from the time being. Meanwhile, another tank drop over here to try to slow down the economy here for Stork. But Stork already coming in now and denying this again and again.
Okay,
is it time?
Vultures. Yeah,
it's time.
It is. This is it. Flash is trying to go for the victory here in the Legend. Picking off a lot of probes as they come across the map. Stork's army coming up, fighting only Vultures, but as those tanks come, he has to pull back some.
And keep in mind, he took out a lot of probes right before this attack happened, probably forcing Stork to focus mostly on probe production, where this army is going to be hit really hard, and he's got to be remaking that as well.
Oh, but the flank from Stork is awesome. A ton of speed zods coming in from the side. He's starting to really reduce his tank count.
Oh my God, he's going to shut this down. He just completely wrecked this. Flash is on the run. Stork going northbound now. The counterattack could take out this expansion, possibly costing Flash this game.
No, this is very tough for Flash. Does he have enough to hold on? I think he might because it's mostly Dragoons. But as Zealots come up, it comes tougher. A nice stasis on the side there. But Stork bleeding off a lot of his army.
He's going to have to wait for reinforcements to get there. Goliath's now coming out to drive back these Arbiters. That means he can't easily stasis or recall without possibly being punished.
A lot of these observers being taken out as well. I'm not even sure if Stork has any observers with his army, so the mine's going to become more and more of a problem. Flash, once again, trying to move out here. Trying to pick off these High Templars. A decent storm goes down, damaging him quite a bit.
Okay, he's going to try to push in here again. Does he have enough muscle to take down this Protoss army? I don't see enough Dragoons underneath these Arbiters, and that's going to be it. GG! Flash is our victor with a 2-0 win.
All right, well, I mean, that's a very nice game that we just saw there, Tasteless. A lot of harassment on both sides, quite back and forth.
Yeah, very nicely done. I gotta say, Flash just looks too good. Stork had an amazing job there with the harass, hitting those different locations. This really goes to show you guys at home how a different map can require an entirely different approach, and they were both really utilizing drops and trying to outposition each other, a lot more. But in the end, Flash just too big, too strong.
Yeah, Stork had some really tough tough moments there. You know,
Yeah.
like when that back base got just destroyed by the double drop ship. I mean, from there, it was amazing the game he put up against a monster like Flash.
So we have a special guest joining us now. It is none other than Jaedong!
Wow. Ooh, I just said like, woo! But
Yeah, I know your mic wasn't close enough.
Woo!
Woo!
Wow!
So Jaedong is going to get this translated for us as we do our interview. I believe it's just going to be Flash. Are we interviewing Stork? I don't know.
Flash interviewed Stork, what?
No, is Stork going to be interviewed as well? I don't know what's going on, Jaedong.
I don't know. Let me try to translate or interpret. We're just going to have Flash on stage. Maybe Kevin might come on stage. We don't know yet, but all we know is that we have lots of important people from Blizzard today. And a lot of important people from esports tonight here, like Go TV, I think. And now we have, is that Stork also? Stork and Flash on stage. Lots of harassing, lots of important moves at Seal. I'm really happy that I won. Well, it's very meaningful for me to win this. Well, there's going to be another league, and I hope to win that league also. But Stork in the finals, and he wasn't easy to beat. How was it? Well, I was, you know, almost like losing my mind playing against him. Well, I think I was kind of lucky. This map, I haven't played it in a long time, so but I was kind of getting lucky playing this map. So I was kind of lucky playing this map. And now Stork on the map, sorry, on the stage. Well, he played perfectly, and he came in second place.
레전드 함께한 소감 말씀 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
4명 중에 스타1을 다시 복귀한 지 제일 늦었고.
Well, I was the late. I just want to come back to StarCraft 1.
꼭 오늘은 1승이라도 하자 하고 왔는데.
Well, I was thinking just to, you know, win once.
이제 경기력적인 부분에 있어서도 발전하는 모습이 보여지는 것 같아서 응원해 주시는
I think I'm showing improvements while playing StarCraft 1.
보여줄 수 있을 것 같아서 기쁩니다.
And I'm really happy to show you guys these improvements.
네, 이제는 새로운 시작이죠. 자, 이번 대회를 시작으로 해서 이제 선수들은 더 멋진 경기를 치를 수 있는 기회가 있습니다. 그리고
it's kind of a new opportunity for players to show what they've got at Africa TV.
네, 김태경 선수와 이재동 선수도 오늘 이쪽으로 들어와 주시고 자, 함께 이번 대회를 즐겨본 소감을 들어보는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다.
And now we have all the 4 players up here.
오늘 좀 아쉽게 결승 진출하지 못했습니다만 그래도 좋은 추억이었다고 생각이 되는데요.
Bisu
자, 이번에
and JD also up on stage.
함께한 소감 말씀해 주시죠.
일단 제가 지금 이 자리에서 이렇게 게임을 할 수 있는 것만으로도 굉장히 영광이라고
Well, I
생각하고
feel honored just to be able to play here.
아쉽지만
Well, I just feel sad for the results.
감사하게 생각합니다.
But I feel thankful
자,
to play
이재동
here.
선수는 뭐 이번 대회가 끝이 아니라 새로운 시작이거든요.
Well, it's not the end, it's the start for some people.
일단 굉장히 마음가짐을 좀 각오를 가지고 있고 앞으로 있을
Well, I'm training really hard.
대회에서도 아쉬운 모습보다는 뭔가 팬분들이 만족할 수 있는 그런 경기를 할 수 있도록
Trying to show what the fans feel satisfied.
보내주죠. 그리고 김태경 선수도 오늘은 좀 아쉬운 생각이 좀 컸어요. 예, 이 결승 진출하지 못했습니다. 그래도
we were not 100%
열심히 경기 치렀는데
satisfied.
이번 대회 함께한 소감 말씀해 주시죠.
Let's see how he feels.
네, 오늘 좀 경기력이 좀 안 좋아가지고 좀
Well, I didn't play that well tonight,
그래도 오늘 좀 좋은 자리에 초대해 주셔가지고
but thank you for inviting me to a really good opportunity. And a lot of fans came here tonight, and next time
그때 좋은 모습 보여드려야 될 것
I will
같아요.
try to show you guys
네, 오늘 멋진 경기
satisfying
펼쳐준
games.
선수들에게 다시 한번 뜨거운 박수 보내주시죠. 자, 이제 시상식이 기다리고 있습니다. 오늘
All
right. Thank you, Jaedong. Great translating as always. Artie, what an amazing day. And we're not even done. By the way, guys, the GSL Codes Finals are next. Now we're going to the award ceremony.
Yes, indeed. It's been a fun match. Of course, Mike Morhaime going to go up and help out with this award ceremony.
All right, man. That was fun. I can't wait to cast this, you know, in the remastered stage.
Oh, I know. It's going to be so cool and so shiny. Oh my
I know.
God. And like having it work on just like my PC is going to be so sick.
Oh, I know. If you've ever tried to play Brood War in the past few years, it's not easy to get it working or to get, oh my God.
Totally.
This is like seriously an amazing thing. So,
right. Runner-up prize.
Getting the silver medal. He gets some flowers. That's right. Here you go. Hope you have an empty vase at home, buddy. Keep it watered.
You put that with all his other $5,000 second runner-up place checks. It's gained quite a few of them over the years. Did look very good tonight.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see, because I know we've casted him in the last couple months, and he didn't look quite as good as some of the other players, but he's clearly back.
Yeah,
and now
he really is.
We are going to make our champion flash. Oh, that's right. We got confetti cannons here. We got it all.
Those are HD.
Those are HD cannons. You see how beautiful they are.
Look at how crisp that check is. Beautiful.
Look at how shiny his flowers are. They're even shinier than Stork's flowers.
$10,000 to win 3 games here tonight.
Money, 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 money.
I wish I could have Flash's job. But then I'd have to be as good as Flash. That'd be pretty hard.
Get out there, guys. Spread the word. StarCraft Remastered is coming out. It's a real thing. And it's time for you guys to start learning. It's never too late to start learning this game. We had so many different generations of players come and learn. Some stayed, some left. But yeah, you guys can make a home here as well.
Indeed. And you're absolutely going to be enjoying that. And of course, if you just tuned in for the Brood War, you should stay tuned in. A couple ex-Brood War pros turned StarCraft 2 gods are coming up next in the GSL Codes Finals. Sue in his fifth GSL Finals. 5! Only MVP has done that.
Yeah.
Oh, but here's the thing. He's never won one.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
This is going to be crazy, Tasteless.
We're going to a break, guys. We come back, the GSL Codes Finals. We love you, and we will see you in just a little bit.